Can't find AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. It's the John Kobylt Show, and we are on every day from 3 to 6. And after 6 o'clock, whatever you missed, you can hear on the podcast, John Kobylt Show on Demand. And, you know, in recent weeks, we added another element. You can watch us on YouTube and on X on video. You could subscribe, youtube.com/@John Kobylt Show. You have to have an X subscription to see the video?
No, you just need to follow us at John Kobylt Radio on X, just like all of our other social media.
Okay. All right. Scratch whatever I said. I make no sense. Anyway, those are the different ways you can hear us and you can watch us. Now, today was a wonderful day. In Vanity Fair, which is a celebrity magazine, they published an essay by a woman named Ruby Rippey. Isn't that a great name, Ruby Rippey? And it really fits her role here. Ruby Rippey had an adulterous affair with Gavin Newsom. This is the affair he had when he was mayor of San Francisco. And it was big headlines in San Francisco at the time. It was a big scandal. This is kind of in between relationships. He was getting divorced from Kimberly Guilfoyle, but it was not finalized. And somewhere during this affair, he started dating Jennifer Newsom. So Ruby Rippey kind of filled a transition period in Gavin's life, except Ruby was married with a child, and her husband was Newsom's deputy chief of staff, soon to be the campaign manager for his re-election campaign as mayor. But none of that stopped Newsom. He went after Ruby Rippey, even though she was married, had a kid, her husband, and she both worked for Newsom, and she also is a really bad alcoholic and cocaine addict. But he went for the whole package, and she's written this little mini memoir about her time. And you walk away from this thinking that if you think he's a snake and a psychopath, he is like 10 times worse than you could imagine. Newsom is really a gross human being. Now, she takes the blame for her part in the memoir. But what I wanted to do, this is really written well. Unfortunately, you need a subscription to Vanity Fair, so there's a payroll up. But we got a hold of this. And most of you have not read it, obviously, and probably won't read it. But we thought we would kind of turn this into maybe an old-fashioned radio play so you could listen to it. I think it works actually better as audio. And so I am going to read some of the setup for what she wrote, where she is in life. This actually reads like one of those romance novels, those paperback romance novels, like the kind that Fabio would... Harlequin romance novels, right. And it's very well written, but it's very kind of melodramatically written, I guess. So anyway, Debra is going to occasionally play the role of Ruby Rippey, because there are descriptions here that if I read this stuff, it would really sound disturbing. But I think if she reads it as Rippey, it'll be a little more palatable. So, and it's the whole thing is very long, so we've truncated it down to just a little bit. We take it back to 2003 when Willie Brown was the mayor, and Ruby Rippey and her new husband, Alex Tork, are recruited to join the next mayoral campaign. A young supervisor from District 2, that would be Newsom, enters the race, often described as Kennedy-esque. Alex, my husband, is the field director. I am the deputy finance director. And then they join the administration, and Ruby serves as commission secretary. Her husband serves as deputy chief of staff. And one day I'm told my office has been reassigned. The mayor, Newsom, wants me at a desk outside his door as a gatekeeper. I understand the logic. It's a new administration full of young staffers improvising their way through it. Still, losing my office feels like a demotion. But my new desk quickly becomes a nerve center. I manage a steady stream of people who want something from him. And now we'll go to the next section. This would be number 1. And again, this is Ruby Rippey speaking.
One night, we all meet at a Mexican restaurant on Lombard Street. Warm tortilla chips, limes, margaritas sweating in glasses. As the waiter takes orders, I feel the mayor looking at me. I glance up, across the table, back at him. As if caught off guard, he reacts, pointing at me.
Hey, you look really good, he says. You've lost all your pregnancy weight. There's a compliment. There's an awkward laugh. I reach for another chip and stare at my husband's margarita, the salt rim catching the light. I want it, meaning the margarita. But I'm in another self-enforced stretch of sobriety, so I had to sit on my hands and wait it out. But now, after this little night out at the Mexican restaurant, something changes in Ruby.
After that, I start paying closer attention to what I wear. Chanel makeup, a yellow silk dress fitted at the waist, pink patent leather heels. At senior staff meetings, we sit in a semicircle facing his enormous oak desk. 12-foot velvet curtains drawn tight, casting the room in a private glow. I wear my new heels, a tight pencil skirt. I cross my legs. I feel important.
It's much better. You're reading this. So then let's move on to the day of the white dress, number 3.
My boss and I end up in the narrow hallway outside the ballroom at the same time. We wait across from each other. The space is tight. The silence stretches. He slips his hands into his tan trouser pockets and smiles. His usual shy, ah, shucks smile. I say nothing. I hold his gaze longer than I should.
They were at a wedding. Well, you can continue there with the last 2 paragraphs on the page.
By the time night falls, I'm sitting on the edge of a hot tub with my feet in the water. He's across from me, slipping off his shoes and socks, rolling up his pant legs. My husband leaves soon after, irritated that I want to keep partying while he drives home to our 1-year-old son. The next clear memory is getting into the back of my boss's chauffeured town car, heading to the Carneros Inn. There are others, his sister, a few more. The car smells like new leather. I stretch my legs across the center console and I let my heels fall off. He is in the front seat. He takes one of my feet and begins to massage it, the gesture half hidden inside the loud car.
Then, nothing. She goes black. You can read the next line.
The boundaries begin to disintegrate. I linger in doorways, position myself within his sight line. At events, he holds the door, waiting for me to pass first. The texts shift from work to something else. I manufacture reasons to be near him. The choreography becomes obvious. People notice.
I should say that after the little dangling in the hot tub, when I said everything went dark for her, she said she woke the next morning beside him, still dressed, cold, almost shivering, and my dress is soaked from the waist down. I had passed out, and I'd also wet the bed. Now let's go on to underneath the section titled The Stain. One night
at his place, I'm in his king-size bed, lying on my side, watching him. He's on all fours near the edge of the bed, scrubbing furiously at the carpet with a washcloth. I've knocked over a glass of red wine. It blooms across the pale rug. I remember thinking, that stain isn't coming out. As if he can hear me, he looks up, frustrated. You know, we really can't do this anymore. You can't be doing this to Alex.
So what ends the connection, at least temporarily, is she spills wine on his rug and he freaks out and he's on his hands and knees trying to scrub the stain out.
At least it's just a wine stain.
Right. When you saw the stain, it's like, we'll have more when we come back. That's very good.
Thank you.
There you go. That is Debra Mark playing the role of Ruby Rippey, the mistress for Gavin Newsom when he was mayor of San Francisco. Debra Mark is now
Yes.
magically becomes the newscaster.
Yes.
Live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. Dr. Fauci will be back in the spotlight when he goes before the Senate tomorrow, and consumer confidence has fallen for a third straight month. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour. We're going to go to the 10 next.
Those spam texts and scam emails flooding your phone and just all the times the phone rings. They're not random. Scammers buy your personal information from data brokers day in and day out. And those same data brokers are buying your information from retailers or the DMV. The DMV, restaurant chains, markets, even insurance companies. They package it up and sell it to anyone willing to pay, including criminals. So I got Incogni to take back my privacy and safety. Incogni contacts hundreds of data brokers on your behalf and legally demands they delete all your personal data. They have scrubbed my information from 324 brokers, some of them twice over, 441 times they've been successful. So there's far less spam, almost nothing, fewer scam calls. You go to incogni.com/KFI. You save 60% when you sign up. I get almost no scam calls now. Incogni.com/KFI. If they can't find you, they can't scam you. Again, incogni.com/KFI.
Southline weather from KFI. It's going to be sunny tomorrow with highs ranging from the 70s to around 100. This report brought to you by Anthem Blue Cross. From your Toyota dealers traffic center, we make it easy. Slow on the 10 in Santa Monica.
It's that eastbound side, and it's loading up from 20th Street. Delays continue across Mid-City all the way to the 5 in Boyle Heights. Even that westbound side of the 10 slows leaving the 5 as you continue back towards the 110 in downtown Los Angeles. The 110 northbound slows out of South LA, leaving the 105. And that's a slow, steady drive all the way to the 5 freeway. Let's also check out the latest in Anaheim, East 91. Delays backing up off of the 57 freeway, traveling towards Green River. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
GiveMeTheVIN.com, where you can sell your car in a hot minute. You ought to try it. Enter your VIN number, get an offer fast. GiveMeTheVIN.com. Their offers beat CarMax and a Carvana offer every time. If they can't do it, they'll pay you $100. GiveMeTheVIN.com will get your check on the spot. Super easy. Wait. Super easy, super fast at GiveMeTheVIN.com, America's best car buyer. Now everyone can sing. Go ahead.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVIN.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Anthem Blue Cross and Chicas Verdes are helping students throughout Los Angeles learn how to grow and prepare their own healthy food. They're joined by Sparks and will provide education, recipes, and knowledge to students and families. Learn more at anthem.com/CA/Sparks. Anthem Blue Cross is the trade name of Blue Cross of California.
This report is sponsored by California Department of Boating and Waterways.
Whether you're on the lake, on the river, or on the bay, when you hop on board for a day on the water, make sure everyone's on board with wearing a life jacket. Life jackets save lives. Get on board. A message from California State Parks Division of Boating and Waterways.
Hey, it's Conway here for Cars for Kids. We've donated 2 vehicles to Cars for Kids, and man, was it easy. Cars for Kids has been around for 30 years, and they know what they're doing. I recently saw firsthand one of their summer programs going on right now where they have over 1,400 kids. I saw hundreds of kids in the camp, and they couldn't thank Cars for Kids enough for making this incredible opportunity possible. So when you donate a car, you're helping real kids thrive this summer. CarsForKids.org. 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. KARS, Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K.
Curious how you would look? PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com. PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com.
You ever wonder how far an EV can take you on one charge? Well, most people drive about 40 miles a day, which means you can do all daily stuff no problem. Go to work, grab the kids at school, get the groceries, and still have enough charge to visit your in-laws in the next county. But they don't need to know that. And the best part, you won't have to buy gas at all. The way forward is electric. Explore EVs that fit your life at electricforall.org.
Getting you back to your life pursuit. Hogue Orthopedic Institute. Call 1-800-919-2000.
Oof, shocking time to lose a whole strut.
Ugh, comedy is not your thing, but I do know that Rock Auto has what I need to fix it.
With parts shipped right to your door. No kidding.
All the parts your car will ever need, Rock Auto.
Want up to $25,000 in free silver? When you make a qualifying purchase through Golden Crest Metals, you can receive up to $25,000 in real silver added to your account. Call 888-447-7857 now for your free information kit. That's 888-447-7857. Again, call 888-447-7857. Not a financial advisor. Precious metals involve risk. Free silver offers a 10% bonus in silver on qualifying purchases of premium minted coins. $10,000 minimum purchase required. Bonus silver capped to $25,000 and credited to customer account. See goldencrestmetals.com for full terms.
By the way, if you want somebody to just trash talk you, get yourself one of those Garmin watches. If you want somebody to hate you like you hate yourself, Will, get yourself a Garmin watch. You could never do well enough. You take a walk and it's like, is that it?
Your mediocre workout has been logged.
I have a ring that I don't even know what the time limit is, but every once in a while it'll ask that question like the old Nintendo Wii used to do, which is like,
were you paralyzed from the waist down today?
It's like the opposite of affirmation. Never good enough.
Gary and Shannon.
Waddling into the studio tomorrow morning at 9.
More stimulating talk.
A lot of apps like to say they're free until they ask for your credit card. iHeartRadio is different. No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges. We make money from our advertisers, not from you. It's the same radio you've never paid for. Live radio stations, playlists, podcasts, and artist stations, all in one app. So if you haven't already, download the free iHeartRadio app. Free radio. Always has been, always will be. Now wherever you go.
iHeartRadio.
KFI AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
Coming up on the next Gary and Shannon show.
well, there's a new cult leader that's coming into question, and guess what? She's from Southern California.
The Gary and Shannon show starts tomorrow at 9.
$1,000 giveaway.
Now is your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Bank. That's BANK. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash.
KFI.
Bank. Enter that at KFIAM640.com/cash. That's where you enter the keyword. And there's a winning keyword every hour, every weekday from 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. If you win, you'll get an email. Next chance to win here, 420 at KFI. We are doing a dramatic reading of Ruby Rippey's mini memoir in Vanity Fair magazine, what it was like to be Gavin Newsom's mistress 20 years ago when he was mayor. And Ruby worked for Gavin Newsom, acted as his main gatekeeper outside his office. And deputy chief of staff, soon to be campaign manager. And they had a kid, she and Alex Tork, the husband. But Newsom went for her anyway, and she was so whacked out on booze and cocaine that she was a willing participant. Debra is playing the role of, apparently to great reviews. She's playing the role of Ruby Rippey, and reviews were so good that Eric had to delete some of the comments.
Why?
There a lot of emojis, and I mean some emojis I'd never heard of before, and he had to translate what they meant, so it's probably better.
Okay.
Anyway, we are to the point now where it looks like they've had a falling out because she had knocked some red wine on his pale-colored rug, and this got Newsom very upset, and he said, we really can't do this anymore. So she plans a trip.
I plan a girls' trip to Los Angeles, knowing he will be there for work. By 2 in the afternoon, my friend and I are drinking chilled Chardonnay at the Mason 140 pool in Beverly Hills. My phone buzzes. He's at the W Hotel. You guys should come by. We polish off our wine and head over. At the hotel bar, I remember only flashes, leaning in too close, Laughter pitched too high, then it goes black. I wake beside him the next morning. The room is quiet. My head pounds. On the floor near the bed are tiny shirt buttons scattered like coins. Not mine. One is stuck to the back of my thigh. I peel it off and dress carefully, leaving without waking him.
Go to the next one.
When I land, my phone lights up. Thank God the W had t-shirts. Only then do I understand, hazily, that I tore his shirt off, every button ripped loose.
Oh my. It's getting warm in here. And that pretty much covers the most of the affair. And it seemed to be purely a sexual affair. They didn't seem to, you know what? And she didn't write one word describing his personality at all in this memoir. It's like all it was lust.
Yeah.
Just tearing clothes off.
Yeah.
And then she writes about she's overcome with guilt because her husband doesn't know a thing. He's so immersed in work. If he notices something, he's blocked it out. He's deputy chief of staff, campaign manager for the new election, and she starts getting off on cocaine, and she's getting unstoppable nosebleeds. Finally, her family forces her into rehab, and while in rehab, she writes an email explaining it was just sex, off and on for months with the mayor. It ended before rehab. I'm sorry. She blames her alcoholism, and then she sends it off to him. And when she finally gets back home, Alex doesn't want to hear about it. He leaves, never to return. And Newsom eventually breaks off the relationship. It becomes a big scandal in San Francisco in the papers. Newsom dismisses her publicly while acknowledging the affair. You know what he is. So that was our little dramatic reading. They thought we'd give you the juicier parts. It's like about 15 pages long if you print it out. It's 5 stars you're getting from people.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I need to do the news in that voice, I guess.
Someone did just suggest that.
maybe you should.
There was a super chat for it.
Oh, that's funny.
We can take every boost that we can get, right?
I don't know. Would the higher ups care? I mean, I don't even know if they listen.
That's right. This will be a good test. We'll see if they do listen.
That's true.
I'm betting not.
Yeah.
Right. So
maybe I'll just go for it.
Just go for it. Right. It would be an innovation. Nobody else is doing this.
That's true.
All right. Let's go to Debra now, live.
I think I'll do my normal for now.
In the newsroom.
Yeah. Dr. Fauci will be back in the spotlight when he goes before the Senate tomorrow. Fauci will testify before a Republican Senate panel on the COVID-19 pandemic. This comes days after Kentucky Republican Senator Rand Paul released what he calls Fauci's diary during the pandemic. Republicans say the diary proves Fauci was deliberately downplaying the theory COVID-19 originated from China's Wuhan lab while reveling in his own celebrity. Former President Biden said he preemptively pardoned Fauci because of possible unjustified and politically motivated prosecutions by the incoming administration. The news is brought to you by Pacific Coast Termite. Consumer confidence has fallen for a third straight month. ABC's Jim Ryan says it's tied to gas prices going up again because of the U.S. and Iran conflict.
The conference board asks Americans for their assessment of current economic conditions and how they're feeling about the short-term future. The present situation index has fallen, while the expectations index has remained steady.
The conference board says consumers anticipate little improvement in business conditions over the next 6 months. California Attorney General Bonta is usually the one doing the suing, but now he's on the receiving end of a lawsuit.
Rob Bonta, we will see you in court.
A pro-voter ID group has filed a lawsuit over the changes to the wording of a voter ID ballot initiative in the November election. Republican Assembly member David Tungipaw from Fresno.
He has decided to manipulate and rig the November election and change the title and summary of our voter ID initiative. We call it Cheating Fair and Square.
If passed, voters would have to show government-issued ID at the polls or provide the last 4 digits of a government-issued ID number when voting by mail. Bonta says the wording was changed for clarity. Jason Campidonia, KFI News.
A sailor from California has been rescued after spending a month adrift at sea.
39-year-old Kai Soto left Catalina Island in a 32-foot sailboat June 7th. He was on his way to Hawaii, his first solo trip. His mast broke 2 weeks into the trip. His phone stopped working, and then the motor he had ran out of fuel. He survived on condensation, oatmeal, and fish and squid that landed on his boat. He was found July 21st, 900 miles from Hawaii, by the crew of a container ship. Sato is now staying with a relative and is planning his next sail to the Philippines on a bigger boat. Amy King, KFI News.
Former Senator Lindsey Graham's funeral service drew lawmakers, dignitaries, and members of the White House to the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. President Trump gave remarks at the funeral and said Lindsey Graham would be remembered as a titan of the Senate.
He was the first person to make you laugh and one of the last people that you've really ever wanted to fight. These were the traits that made him into one of the great figures in Senate history.
Graham died nearly 2 weeks ago at the age of 71. A bipartisan group of senators has agreed to move forward with a highly anticipated Russia and Iran sanctions bill named in honor of the late Senator Lindsey Graham. ABC's Peter Haralambu says the Senate's expected to vote on the bill tonight.
The sanctions target Russian political officials and oligarchs, banks and financial institutions, and the Russian shadow fleet, according to lawmakers.
The package would impose primary and secondary sanctions on Russia and other countries that support Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And Walmart has lost the title it held for 12 straight years. ABC's Jim Ryan says it's not the biggest company in the world anymore.
At least not according to the Fortune Global 500 ranking released this morning. Amazon is number one this year, with revenue surging 12% and surpassing $700 billion.
Behind the online retailer is former number one, Walmart. Southland weather from KFI, sunny tomorrow, highs 80s. Metro LA, low to mid 90s in the valleys, mid 80s to mid 90s and windy in the high desert. Mid to upper 70s at the beaches, low to mid 80s inland OC, 90s to around 100 and windy in the IE. Right now, 89 in Laguna Woods, 87 in Rancho Santa Margarita. Crash on the 5 in Boyle Heights.
It's along the northbound side coming up on the 10. That's where the 2 right lanes are blocked. They're about to clear this wreck off to the shoulder, but you've got emergency crews out there the whole bit. And that 5 northbound, it's loading up all the way from the 710 out of East LA. The drive is also slow on that southbound side of the 5. It delays out of Burbank, leaving Alameda, and that continues slow all the way to the 605 freeway. It's also looking pretty slow on the 405. This is leaving West LA, Santa Monica Boulevard, and stretches all the way to Palo Verde and Long Beach. And let's check out Corona. Southbound 15, slowing down from Magnolia Avenue. Delays pretty heavy ahead all the way towards Temescal Canyon Road. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
If you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, you need attorneys that listen, care, and stand up for you. And that's why you call the attorneys at Sweet James. They have the reputation that puts power and respect on your side so you can focus on recovering. If you're hurt in a crash, call Sweet James. They have an office in Los Angeles. 1-800-9-MILLION or go to sweetjames.com.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-MILLION. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorneys.
Join us at the ballpark to celebrate Edwin Diaz Bobblehead Night on Wednesday, July 29th as the Dodgers take on the Mariners. Be one of the first 40,000 fans and take home this exclusive Edwin Diaz Bobblehead presented by Budweiser. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
Hey, y'all, it's Dean Sharp. American Vision Windows wants you to declare your independence from dated, tired windows. So this July, you get $1,776 off new windows and enjoy better energy savings, curb appeal, and comfort. But you have to book this July. Visit AmericanVisionWindows.com or call them at 888-686-8249, 888-686-8249. New customers only. Restrictions apply. Call or see website for details. Offer ends July 31st.
Lose the weight. Feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST Medical.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is a new iHeart podcast where secrets come out, emotions run high, and no topic is off limits. Listen now on the iHeart Radio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
If you run a business, you know the value of trust. It's what keeps your customers coming back.
And it's what you get when you advertise with iHeart. More than 75% of listeners consider iHeart hosts their friends and trust their recommendations. Now take that trusted influence and combine it with iHeart's massive reach and scale, and you've got the formula for growing your business. Learn how easy it is to tell your story through our voices today at iHeartAdvertising.com. That's iHeartAdvertising.com.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. Please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to STOP. This message furnished by this station.
Call 844-GO-SMILE to learn about the new Lifestyle Smile dental implants from Lasting Smiles.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
This is Jacob Emrani. When you need help after an accident, I'm here for you.
Accident or injury, call Jacob Emrani. Call Jacob.
7 days on a Mexican Riviera cruise is the easiest way to make the whole family happy. Something for everyone and you, of course. Beach time, culture, food, relaxation, and stellar sweeping ocean views right from your cabin. Life on board luxurious Norwegian ships should be experienced at least once in your lifetime. And the iconic ports and entertainment of the Mexican Riviera make this vacation a no-brainer, especially if you're in LA. A Norwegian cruise vacation means you don't have to worry about logistics. 2027 bookings from LA and San Diego are live now. You'll go to Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, Ensenada, Mazatlan. Party, relax, explore. You don't have to choose. You can do it all. Casual bites to sophisticated dining, whatever you're in the mood for all the time on board a Norwegian cruise. Open air decks to feel the breeze. I can feel it now. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here. Book your cruise now. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or call 188-NCL-CRUISE.
KFI.
AM 640.
An iHeart radio station.
More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere. On the iHeartRadio app, it's the John Kobylt Show. We're on from 3 to 6. After 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on demand on the iHeart app. And we're live on YouTube. We're live on X. Go to youtube.com/@JohnKobyltShow. We just finished a dramatic reading. Debra playing a starring role as Ruby Rippey, the hussy mistress who worked for Newsom. And he had an affair with her, even though she was married to Newsom's deputy chief of staff and campaign manager. And she had a kid, and she had a bad drinking problem and cocaine problem. But Newsom, somewhere in between his, at the tail end of his first marriage, and just as he was starting to date Jennifer Newsom, worked Ruby in there. And it went on for months, although he's always minimized it, claiming it's a very brief affair. You know what she's Ruby Rippey's irritated about is that in his memoir, Newsom claims that he was the one who admitted the betrayal to Alex Tork, the husband. And Rippey said, no, I'm paraphrasing here, I told my husband via email, and Alex Tork then called Newsom, and Newsom admitted it after being confronted. Newsom in the book makes it sound like he told Tork. Now, Tork told him after getting the bad letter from Ruby. And Ruby wanted to keep the marriage going, but Tork wanted nothing to do with it. Here's some of the reactions on the live chat on the side of the screen. If you go to the youtube.com, the John Kobylt Show. Let me see here. She has the best voice.
Aww.
Excellent sax background music. Somebody who came in late said, what are we listening to? 1-800-Debra. Told you. That OnlyFans chapter is coming.
It might happen sooner rather than later.
George says, can little Debra start telling the news using this voice? Saxman says, I love the music and Debra. Oscar says, lots of drivers listening to KFI intently. And why did my screen freeze? That's not right. Apparently overheated the screen.
Right.
Oh, Sheila says, who needs a cold shower now? Cordelia says, I need a cigarette. When you went back to reading the news, no, Debra, use the other voice. One guy went in to take a shower. Love in the afternoon. And Debra should go voice Harlequin audiobooks. And then we got some super chats here. You want to run those? Because people paid to hear their super chats. Let's see. Diego Gonzalez says, love the way Debra reads it. Then Henry says, outstanding performance. Jay Kelleher says, the last segment needs to be in the Hall of Fame. We should do this every day.
I'd love to.
We never get, I never get reviews like this, okay? I put you on for 20 minutes and can little Debra start using this voice when telling the news? So, there you go.
I would. It would be fun.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, so
I don't think that would go over well with the boss. But I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't either.
You know, standards are dropping almost every day.
Yeah.
So, if you want to hear it, that's what the podcast is for later on. Coming up after 4 o'clock, we're going to talk to Bruce Bialosky. Bruce has written a piece in the California Post about Los Angeles and the burst water pipes that's everywhere. He is a former presidential appointee, and he is a CPA specializing in taxes, and he's got quite the column that he wrote today in the New York Post, well, the California Post, obviously. And I had a water main break last night. I couldn't believe this. About 9 o'clock last night, I had to go out to the airport. One of my sons was coming into town late. A victim, I think, of the same
yes, of my poor son.
Midwest mess, because the thunderstorm's out in the Midwest. So he's 2 hours late. I'm leaving for the airport at 9. So I just wanted to wash up before I went out. Turned on the bathroom faucet and nothing. No water.
You didn't pay your bill?
There was a day that was a possibility. No, I knew it was the revenge of Karen Bass. And I was thinking, are they getting back at me now for all the terrible, truthful things I've said? I go down to the main floor of the house, and there's a trickle of water. Go down the basement, there's a trickle of water. So there's not enough water pressure to send it to the top floor of the house.
Of your
Of the what?
Of your mansion.
Look, it's 2 stories in a basement. It's not like it's not like a hotel or anything. And I'm thinking, so I had to go to the airport. I get in the car and I call the DWP hotline, and I get all the recordings and all the bots and that whole thing. It says, give us your 10-digit account number. I don't have my 10-digit water account number in my head. So I had to go through all these other trapdoors until they deemed to be qualified to
what
talk
was it,
to
your
the
phone
bot.
number?
I don't know what it was.
I think it usually is.
Well, a lot of stuff is in my wife's name with her information, but I don't know. Finally, they accepted me. I think I gave my address or something, and they decided I was qualified to speak to the bot. And the bot gave me another recorded bot that told me there's no outages in the area. And so, again, I'm yelling at the bot in the car while I'm driving, saying, there is an outage in the area. And as I turned the corner, I found the source of the outage because the DWP had actually shown up around the corner from us. And there was, they were digging a hole, and they already had a hose, and they were pumping water from underground, I guess, that flooded out underneath the street. And there was an 8-inch pipe that burst, which, when I got a live operator, she finally admitted to. Remember, the recording said there was nothing.
Right.
Well, 3 minutes later, I got a live person and said, and she's thinking, and she's, oh, well, yeah, there is something. Yeah, there is something. I know. Because my faucet's dry. And then they closed the road. But this morning, it was all back. So I think it was revenge.
It probably was.
I think my electricity is going to get cut off. And
it's really going to be heating up So that's not gonna be good.
No, it's more now. It's more. I mean, what are the odds? We're railing about all these busted pipes, and I got one a block away from me. When we come, after 4, we'll talk to Bruce Bialosky about this. I think you'll enjoy him too as a guest. Debra Mark live in the Campfire 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. A permit application has been filed to rebuild the Lineage cold storage warehouse in Boyle Heights, and dangerous heat is making a comeback across Southern California. We'll have more at the top of the hour, going to the 4:05 next.
Well, let me tell you something. When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's the finish line. Do a handshake, get a commission, done. They're done. You may not hear from them again until it's time for a renewal. Your business, though, runs all year, and so do the gaps and the risk. So I'm introducing SuperSure. If your company has more than 25 employees, whether you're the owner, the CFO, or the HR manager, it can be too complicated just to buy a policy online. SuperSure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts, which translates your current policy into plain English so you can see what's covered and what's not. Plus, a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth so you know exactly what needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Go to supersure.com. That's supersure.com.
Paid for by SuperSure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. It's slow on the 405 in Irvine.
So we're starting on that northbound side, and that's where the drive becomes pretty crowded getting away from Irvine Center Drive. You're on and off the brakes in stretches all the way to the 605 freeway. The 22 westbound's also pushing back as you approach the 405. There I'm seeing delays from Golden West all the way to the merge. And let's check out the drive on the 710. Northbound slowing from almost the south end of the 710 freeway. You're on the brakes from Shoreline, and that remains a pretty slow moving drive as you continue all the way into Firestone Boulevard with Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Angel Martinez.
Infinity Bank. Most banks give you a call center. Infinity Bank gives you the president, Victor Guerrero, to speak directly to you. Call 657-223-1000 or visit infinity.bank.
This is Doug Gottlieb. Here's what's trending from the iHeart Sports Network.
Presented by iHeartAdvertising.com.
49ers coach Kyle Shanahan clarifying with reporters today the car accident he was involved in was his fault. He says he took his eyes off the road briefly to find his phone, which had fallen between the seats, and his car went into the other lane. No word on when he'll return from his injuries. Congressional lawmakers have told the SEC and Big Ten they'll deliver their position by tomorrow morning with regard to the revised language of the Protect College Sports Act. I'm Frank Aide.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
This report is sponsored by Albertsons and Vons. This week at Vons and Albertsons, fresh split chicken breasts, bone-in value packs are $1.69 per pound with membership where applicable. And 18-count Lucerne large eggs are $1.99 each. Limit 3 with digital coupon on Vons or Albertsons.com.
Tap into happy hour with half-price pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
Of course, you've heard me talk about Zellman's Minty Mouth. Far more than just a mint. It takes care of the bad breath in your mouth, gives you fresh breath for hours, but also takes care of what happens in your stomach because the foods you eat go into your stomach. And that can cause all of those odoriferous odors to come out of your body. So let me ask you a question about Zellman's. Would you take 15 seconds to say 15% to freshen your breath? That's going on right now at Zellman's. Go to Zellman's.com and use the code SAVE. Zellman's.com, use the code SAVE. The benefits: confidence, no lingering food breath, convenience, freshness after meals or social situations, no garlic hangover. So how about the negatives? Actually, I can't think of any. Zellmans.com. That's ZELMINS.com. Use the code SAVE for fresh, clean breath for hours. Zellmans.com. That's ZELMINS.com. The code is SAVE.
You're still glowing, flirting, grooving. You've still got it. But your immune system weakens as you age, making it harder to fight illnesses like pneumococcal pneumonia and RSV. Vaccines are a key part of any health routine and can help protect you from getting really sick. Ask your doctor or pharmacist which vaccines you need. See more at PfizerForAll.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
When I hit my 50s, I felt like things were slowing down.
This is Sandra's Metamucil story.
I started taking Metamucil for digestion, but had no idea it would impact so much more. Not only did Metamucil help me feel more regular, but my heart health saw the benefits too.
Metamucil. One simple routine, 4 health benefits. Digestive health starts here. Go to metamucil.com for more details.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Mark Thompson here with big news. One of my favorite fill-in hosts is on the Conway Show tonight, Andy Reesmeyer. Check him out. Going to be a great show.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Moist line, 877-MOIST-86, 877-MOIST-86, or use the talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. And coming up after Debra's news at 4 o'clock, Bruce Bialosky. And Bruce has written a column on the burst water pipes all over Los Angeles, including my neighborhood last night. And he ties it directly to the enormous amounts of money spent on the mental patients and drug addicts. And the rest of the infrastructure, or all the infrastructure, has gone to hell, whether it's the water pipes, the roadways, the sidewalks, the alleys, because they blow so much money on that criminal homeless industry. There's nothing left to keep the city put together properly. So we'll talk with Bruce Bialosky coming up after 4 o'clock. This is weird. I saw the video. You'd have to see this to really believe it. I can't believe how this stuff sticks around. I totally don't understand it. There is a pastor named Catherine Crick. It's a woman, and she's based here in L.A. And she does these dramatic prayer services, and people go into convulsions listening to her. And there's a video of her at a Texas bookstore signing her book, and her followers walk up to her, walk up to the table, and then they start convulsing, shaking so hard in ways that you can't believe it's real. I didn't know if the whole thing was staged. I mean, I've occasionally seen these videos at churches, and they're shaking back and forth violently, like they're in some kind of like gigantic egg beater. I mean, that's how hard all their body parts are shaking. Their heads getting thrown back, and their arms are flailing. And so, what is that? Don't tell me it's your spiritual energy. The video shows people collapsing, shaking, convulsing. Yeah, that's a good word for it. It looks like convulsions. And other Christian leaders are saying this is a cult. Yeah. Her church is the Fivefold Church, 5F Church here in Los Angeles. She's a gigantic following online, 500,000 Instagram followers, and on TikTok. And they're all claiming that they've been miraculously healed. And she's a 35-year-old woman with long dark hair. And people fall to the floor and fall into a convulsion. And she wrote how God moved in that bookstore among the people amazed us. People claim they were healed from illnesses, emotional trauma, spiritual oppression. This is all such hooey. This is like this is what hysteria is. We've had a lot of like mass hysteria moments in this country. But you could have like a mini hysteria wave just hit a small crowd. But so how do you get your body to do that? Unless they're all faking it. I'm just baffled by this since I was a child. One attendee says, this was one of the best days of my life. I'll never forget how I was touched by the anointing at this book signing. I couldn't stay on my feet as I stepped forward to have my book signed. Boy, these type of religious leaders, they run a racket. That is one of the great rackets of all time. Even other religious leaders don't believe this. Why do you have to why do you have to have a convulsion? What like triggers the convulsion? Videos of her dramatic healing services attract millions of views. Like if I was going to start one of these things up, I'd rent out a church and I'd have my friends line up, and I would have them all go into convulsions in front of me, and then sell sermons on look how I healed these people. All these people were paralyzed. Then they staggered up to see me and had a convulsion, and now look at their life is perfect. Crick credits her spiritual mentor, a Tanzanian minister named Prophet Jordavi. I tell you, people will fall for anything. This is a stupid, stupid species. This is how you make money. I hear these guys. There's a guy on satellite radio when I'm dialing around, and he's got a commercial or something going on, and he sells out like 100,000 seat stadiums. It's like, oh, stop it. And he says nothing interesting.
But he's rich.
He's extremely rich. He says absolutely nothing interesting. It's just every religious cliche that's ever been strung together. And I don't know where in Los Angeles this is. It doesn't say what town. I gotta look that part up. Town's not in here.
You're gonna go?
It's
when you find it?
Yeah, and I'll have a convulsion and take a video of it.
Oh, that'll be great.
Yeah.
Eric, that'll be great social media.
If you ever want to see me have a convulsion. Actually, you do. Most days I do in here. All right, Bruce Bialosky coming on. LA's got water pipes bursting all over, including one around the block for me last night that cut off water to some of my house. And Bruce is a former presidential employee, CPA, specializing in taxes. And he's looking at the money situation in L.A. and says, you're blowing so much money on the massive homeless criminal scam that there isn't any money for the water system and the roads and the sidewalks and the alleys. We'll talk to Bruce coming up. Debra Mark Live, KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
Going to rebuild. I'm Debra Mark, live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. A permit application has been filed to rebuild the Lineage cold storage warehouse in Boyle Heights. Records from the LA Department of Building and Safety obtained by the local news site LA Material show the application was submitted yesterday. That's the same day LA Mayor Bass posted a video saying Lineage should not even think about coming back and rebuilding this warehouse.
If Lineage won't move with the urgency this crisis demands, then government must use the full force of the law to do so.
Lineage has issued a statement saying its top priority is cleaning up the site as quickly and safely as possible, and that the permit application is to repair damage from the fire, which the company says was not caused by its cold storage operations. The news is brought to you by Sellers Advantage. Dangerous heat is making a comeback across Southern California after a brief midweek break. The National Weather Service says triple-digit temps will return Friday and last through the weekend, while a swell from Hurricane Genevieve will bring high surf and potentially deadly rip currents to area beaches. A high surf advisory takes effect tomorrow night and runs through Saturday, with evening high tides expected to reach 6 to 7 feet. Hundreds of thousands of people have been evacuated in Spain and France because of raging wildfires. ABC's Marcus Moore says the fires are unprecedented.
Officials saying the Avila fire, which has been burning west of Madrid, is the largest fire ever recorded.
More than 150,000 acres have burned. The feds have knocked on a mansion door in Beverly Hills.
FBI agents have executed a warrant at a home on Cannon Drive. Crime scene tape was seen at the front of the home, with agents seen in the backyard early this afternoon. No word on what caused the search or if anyone was taken into custody. Officials say the warrant is under seal by the court. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
President Trump has met with Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu before attending Lindsey Graham's funeral. ABC's Karen Travers says there's no readout from the White House about what took place in that meeting.
But there's a potential for some tensions because the two have had a bit of a tense relationship in recent weeks as it relates to the war with Iran and, of course, Israel's recent strikes in Lebanon.
The White House says the meetings were positive and productive. And world leaders, lawmakers, and family members gathered today to honor Senator Lindsey Graham at his funeral at the Washington National Cathedral. President Trump called Graham a giant of the United States Senate and a true American original. Fox News host John Hannity also remembered Graham, saying the Republican never forgot about his South Carolina roots while serving in D.C.
For the people of that great state, I want you to know with no ambiguity that you gave Lindsey Graham the honor of a lifetime.
Graham died July 11th. He was 71. He will be buried tomorrow at his home state, or in his home state of South Carolina. Going to the 405 next.
Lasting Smiles dental implants, which you need if your teeth are all rotted and decayed and you're embarrassed. If you're embarrassed to open your mouth, you need to call Lasting Smiles. They have a summer smile special. It's a free comprehensive dental exam, full 3D imaging, custom treatment plan. Payments as low as $149 a month on approved credit. Mention KFI or mention John, and you get the summer smile special at lastingsmiles.com. Call 844-GO-SMILE, 844-GO-SMILE, 844-GO-SMILE.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny tomorrow, highs 80s. Metro LA, low to mid 90s in the valleys, mid 80s to mid 90s and windy in the high desert, mid to upper 70s at the beaches, low to mid 80s inland OC, 90s to around 100 and windy in the IE. Right now, 82 in Tustin, 71 Laguna Beach, 94 in Chatsworth. It's 88 in Van Nuys. The KFI financial update brought to you by Supershore. Supershore.com, one super agency, one powerful platform, all your business insurance in one place. The Dow closed up 537, S&P 500 up 16, NASDAQ down 55. Stall on the 405 in West LA.
So this one is along the northbound side, just before Sunset Boulevard. It's a stuck big rig blocking that center lane. Delays loading up out of Culver City, getting away from Venice Boulevard. Now, the drive in Boyle Heights also tough. An earlier crash on the 5 northbound before the 10. At last check, it was blocking the 2 right lanes, and they're just trying to scoot everything off to the shoulder and get those tow trucks out there so they can hook up these cars and haul them away. But that 5 northbound, that's going to be a tough drive as well, all the way from the 605. You've got just a little opening around the 710, but don't get excited because beyond the scene of the crash, the drive remains slow ahead all the way towards the 2. In Pasadena, 210 eastbound, loading up from the 134, delays in stretches all the way to the 15 freeway. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
I'm not great with words after a fight, and I'm sorry, wasn't cutting it this time. So I used Smile Tunes to write a soulful ballad about how she's always right. By the second chorus, the silent treatment was officially over. Visit SmileTunes.com and get out of the doghouse today.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-million. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorney.
Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Office in Los Angeles, California, and sweetjames.com.
Love your legs again. Feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. Please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop. This message furnished by the station.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeart radio station. Guaranteed human.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. Welcome. It's the John Kobylt Show. We're on from 3 to 6. And then after 6 o'clock, John Kobylt Show on demand on the iHeart app. And you can watch us live on YouTube, live on X right now. We're on video. Go to youtube.com/@John Kobylt Show. And you could subscribe, become a member. All right. This was a really good column. Bruce Bialosky is a political columnist, former presidential employee. He's been around politics a long time. He's also an accountant. And he's written a piece for the California Post about the burst water mains are actually a symptom of all the money that's been blown by Karen Bass, Garcetti, and the city council over the years. They've blown it all in the homeless industry. And so everything else has been almost completely ignored, from the water pipes to the streets not getting repaved, to the sidewalks, to the alleyways. But let's get Bruce on to talk about what he wrote today. Bruce, how are you?
I am doing absolutely wonderful. I'm just delighted to be on your show today. I've been listening to you for years, and I finally had to get my friends at the New York Post to create the Great California Post, to have an actual newspaper in California that's worth reading, so that you can get me on my show, on your show.
If that was the plan, it worked. You wrote a great column today.
A great scheme, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But you nailed it. The reason we don't spend money on the roads and the sidewalks and the alleyways and the water pipes is an ungodly amount of money is going into this failed homeless program for the drug addicts and the mental patients.
Well, it's a large part of it. There's other misused things, all the stuff that they spend money on that is not, they refuse to cut any of these expenses and all these commissions that mean nothing, do nothing, people sitting around talking to each other. But the major expense of almost $1 billion a year that isn't going anywhere except for up, is spending money on homeless, and everybody knows, who's got a brain, knows that the path of dealing with it is the wrong path. The path to deal with it is you have to deal with the drug use, and you have to deal with the mental illness. And if you don't deal with those two things, putting them in a unit somewhere is not going to solve it.
What's the bottom line on why they won't do that? They could certainly set up an industry to reward their friends and relatives, but focus on the mental illness and the drug treatment. Why won't they do that?
It's just, John, it's just amazing that they don't. I mean, because I worked in 2021 moving probably about 1,000 people off a homeless site they were squatting on a Hollywood Bowl pickup site in Studio City. And I worked with the people there. I went over there all the time, and they have a lot of staff, and those staff know it. And I talked to the sheriffs who were there, who moved around. These particular sheriffs moved around to different places on homeless patrol, and they knew what the reality was. But why they don't deal with this issue directly is beyond me. I don't understand why they don't understand that it's a simple thing. The people on the street are principally there with two things. They're either improperly medicated for their mental illness, or they're medicating themselves with illegal drugs. And that unless you get them back, they don't even care about the reality. I talk to people all the time, and they say, what do you want the end game for someone to be who's on a homeless and the cure? And they say, we want them to be functioning members of society. They have no path to create them to be functioning members of society. The people who are running this stuff don't have a path there. But that's what we want, the residents of the city, the residents of the state. That's what they want us to happen. They're not getting them anywhere towards that.
Are they really? Is it that they don't want to kill the golden goose here? They've been able to guilt and manipulate people into offering up billions of dollars in fresh taxes, and that's working so well for everyone involved. Why mess with it?
It's working for the people who are providing the services,
yeah,
but it's not working for the people who are getting the services. You know, you're absolutely right, John. I mean, it becomes, people refer to it as the homeless industry, you know, and they have these these nonprofits. They're often called NGOs now, and they don't do anything. They self-perpetuate. They're only concerned about perpetuating their own situation. There's no care for the actual person on the street. There's nobody. Why? Everybody who walks by these people I talk to people about this all the time. They all have the same attitude. I would like them to be cured. And when I walk by them, I have the same thought. We all have the same thought. Therefore, but for the grace of God go I. And they can't imagine why it continues on. But the residents of the state are, and the residents of Los Angeles are so hogtied. And the bottom line is it our fault? It's our fault because we keep voting for these people who perpetuates this falsehood that we're doing anything for the homeless.
Now, this diverts lots of money that's supposed to go to everything else. And you write how in Los Angeles, there's probably 450,000 miles of pipe that is past its lifespan, its useful lifespan. And every day we're on borrowed time with 450,000 miles of pipe.
All of our infrastructure is neglected. As I point out in the article, the worst thing is the sidewalks. Everybody walks on the sidewalks. You can't walk without watching every step you take. As I pointed out in the column, I have been in 100 countries and so many major cities. I'm not speaking in a hyperbolic manner. I am speaking in an exact manner. They are the worst sidewalks in the world. And this is one of the most wonderful, beautiful cities in the world. And it's dangerous to walk through a sidewalk. Just take yourself from walking through Los Angeles and go to Beverly Hills and see the difference in how the sidewalks are. Or go to Pasadena and see how the difference of the sidewalks are. That's how the city maintains themselves.
That's what's really galling is there are examples of fairly large cities adjacent to Los Angeles, bordering on Los Angeles, that have great infrastructure conditions. Glendale's another one.
Oh, absolutely. And then there's when I started researching this, I knew that that some of the street work wasn't being. They took an 8-month hiatus last year on doing any street work. Why is not explained. And at the same time, in a good year, they do they resurface a third of the roads that need to be resurfaced based on average age of roads. We're talking about the side streets that you go by down, and they fill in the potholes. They focus on some of the potholes to eventually get to them, but the streets need to be resurfaced on a regular basis. And they are only doing a third in a good year of how much they should be doing. That means every year they fall 2 years behind.
Hang on the line. Can you stay for another segment?
Absolutely.
All right. We're going to talk to Bruce Bialosky again coming up in moments. Bruce has been involved in politics for a long time, a presidential appointee, a CPA, and a political columnist. And he wrote something for the California Post today on all the infrastructure categories neglected by the city and instead enormous amounts of money poured in and wasted into the homeless industry. Debra Mark is live, KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here's the latest. A person has been stabbed at the Westfield Topanga Mall in Canoga Park, and the FBI serves search warrants at the home and county office of a San Bernardino County supervisor. We'll have more at the bottom of the hour. We're going to go to the 405 next.
You're getting spam text messages and deceptive emails. Your phone is ringing all the time. All that's bad. Scammers are texting, emailing when they get your information, your private information. They buy it from data brokers. Tell the data brokers to stop. There's a company that does it for you. They do it for me, Incogni. INCOGNI. It's an online service that I use, and it puts hundreds of data brokers on notice to stop. And it works. They've removed my data from 324 data brokers. Sometimes they got to go back and do it twice. So in total, they've gotten 441 data brokers to knock it off. My data now is not online like it once was. You'll have the same experience. My wife's phone rings and buzzes all the time because I'd gotten Incogni for myself. I got to get her on my account. Get less spam texts, less scam emails, more online privacy. Go to incogni.com/KFI. Save 60%. Incogni.com/KFI. Incogni.com/KFI.
From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. It's slow on the 405 in West LA.
This is the southbound side, and that drive crowds up leaving Santa Monica Boulevard. You're on the brakes and stretches all the way to Palo Verde and Long Beach. The northbound side is at stalled out Big Rig in West LA, just before Sunset Boulevard. Middle lane was blocked at last check. They were waiting for the tow truck. And I'm still seeing some pretty slow traffic all the way out of Culver City from just about Washington. Beyond the stall, it's still a heavy drive all the way to the 5 merge into Sylmar. And I'm just getting reports of a wreck in Irwindale. This one was on the 210 freeway, making your way along that eastbound side, coming up on Irwindale Avenue. So looks like they just switched the location, 210 westbound at Vernon, and emergency crews are on the scene here. These guys have been blocking the carpool lane. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Infinity Bank. Most banks give you a call center. Infinity Bank gives you the president, Victor Guerrero, to speak directly to you. Call 657-223-1000 or visit infinity.bank.
This is Sarah Spain with the latest from iHeart Women's Sports.
Presented by iHeartAdvertising.com.
This weekend, Seattle Reign head coach Laura Harvey became the first coach in NWSL history to reach 100 regular season wins with the same club, as her Reign defeated the San Diego Wave 2-0 on Sunday. Harvey was also the first NWSL coach to reach 100 regular season wins overall, a feat she achieved in August of 2024. For more women's sports stories, subscribe to Good Game with Sarah Spain on iHeart Podcasts.
Run a business and not thinking about radio? Think again, because people are listening to radio more today than they did 20 years ago. And only iHeartRadio connects with more Americans than TV, digital, even social. Learn how radio can help your business. Call 844-844-iHeart.
This report is sponsored by Staples. All right, it's officially the most wonderful time of the year at Staples. They've got back-to-school supplies as low as 25 cents, up to 40% off select tech, 20% off for teachers, and more. Check out all the deals at staples.com/back-to-school. Staples, that was easy.
Declare your independence from dated, tired windows.
This July, get $1,776 off new windows and enjoy better energy savings, curb appeal, and comfort.
For 25 years, homeowners like you have trusted American Vision Windows with most jobs done in a day, and this month your project costs a lot less.
But you have to book this July. Visit AmericanVisionWindows.com or call 888-785-5713, 888-785-5713.
New customers only. Some restrictions apply. Call or see website for details. Offer ends July 31st, 2026.
Take action for your retirement. Call Golden Crest Metals, 888-447-7857.
Getting you back to your life pursuit. Hogue Orthopedic Institute. Call 1-800-919-2000.
This week at Vaughn's and Albertsons, fresh split chicken breasts, bone-in value packs are $1.69 per pound with membership where applicable. And 18-count Lucerne large eggs are $1.99 each. Limit 3 with digital coupon on Vaughn's or Albertsons.com.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is a brand new podcast. Heartbreak, hope, and a whole lot of what would you do? Stream now on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
A lot of apps like to say they're free until they ask for your credit card. iHeartRadio is different. No required subscriptions, no trial periods, no surprise charges. We make money from our advertisers, not from you. It's the same radio you've never paid for. Live radio stations, playlists, podcasts, and artist stations all in one app. So if you haven't already, download the free iHeartRadio app. Free radio. Always has been, always will be. Now wherever you go.
iHeartRadio.
KFI AM 640. more stimulating talk.
On the next Bill Handel Show, Jim Keeney talks about GLP-1s and a new pain pill and yet another way that you get to die next week. That's coming up after 7 o'clock tomorrow morning on the next Bill Handel Show.
$1,000 giveaway here.
Now is your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, dollar. That's DOLLAR. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash.
KFI.
Dollar. Dollar is the word at KFIAM for KFIAM640.com/cash. If you win, you get an email. Check your junk and spam folder. I've read this too many times. There's a winning keyword every hour, every weekday from 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Next chance to win at 5:20 here on KFI. Whoopee. All right, let's get back here with Bruce Bialosky. He's a political columnist who wrote a great piece in the California Post today on something we've talked about a lot, which is the city is literally crumbling and falling apart. And he says one of the big reasons is the billions of dollars poured into the homeless industry. And I just want to add some numbers to where we left off. We were talking about how the roads are just not being resurfaced anymore. They used to do about 300 lane miles a year. And last year, it went down. It's been going down to between 60 and 100. And based on 23,000 lane miles in LA and how long the road surfacing lasts, you got to do 900 to 1,000 miles a year. And now we're down to less than 100. And so everything's just going to crumble and potholes are going to form and roads are going to start separating. And Bruce, why do you think the public puts up with all this? Because they don't in other cities and other states, even here in California. Why here in LA?
It's not just LA, it's all of California. I mean, California's roads are absolutely atrocious. And I saw a chart, I'm trying to remember the publication I read this morning that did a chart on all the roads in all the different states. And California was one of 5 that were colored red, and the colored red was it's terrible roads, and the interesting thing is we're paying the highest level of taxes throughout the state and throughout the city, and why we tolerate this is beyond me. Look and we had an opportunity here in the last few months. We're now stuck with Karen Bass and Top Ramen running. Okay. And you ask the people in Ramen's district, they think she's done an absolutely terrible job. You ask the business people, she serves nobody, but she somehow got elected and she could become mayor.
I know. And she's a full-blown DSA member.
And a guy came out of nowhere, where Spencer Pratt, and all he did was talk common sense and say, well, I'm going to fix these things. We're going to do these things. And we have the same situation statewide. We have Steve Hilton, who's been running for 2 years, an excellent candidate. And he's, in the last poll, he was 25% behind a doorknob who's running in the Democratic. He has been successful doing nothing he's done. You can't tell me he's done anything and he keeps getting elected. And he fell into the fact of being the gubernatorial candidate for the Democrats because the other guy was caught being a serial philanderer.
At minimum, yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice way of saying it, right?
Yeah, right.
Sorry, I like to be polite at times.
You talk about the sidewalks, and there's roughly 10,000 miles of sidewalk in the city, and they don't even keep a record of how many are repaired. I'll tell you, it's near zero based on what I'm seeing. Almost, but they do pay a fortune in lawsuit settlements from everybody tripping over all the bumps in the sidewalk,
which we also can't find out. We can't find out the expenditures. I worked on on a issue. I can't remember exactly what the issue was. I was working with a leading council member, city council member at the time. This was just a few years ago. And you can find out what the budget lines in the city council budget are, but you can't find out, even the city council person who could not find out what the actual expenditures were within that line item. And so you don't even know where the money's going. They just because they allocate something somewhere, you don't know where it's going. It can't, and nobody can find that out.
You know what?
That's some kind of national secret, I think.
No, that's the trick, because I know somebody who's always saying, "Well, why don't they do an accounting, a forensic accounting?" And you're a CPA, and what's happened with some of these audits that are being done, high-speed rail is a great example of this. They do an audit and they see that money has been allocated for a certain expense category. But when they go looking for specifically where it ended up, with what company, for what reason, the paperwork trail goes dry. There's literally no paperwork to explain. Well, it was spent on that category. It was $52 million. But to who, for what, and what the benefit was, there is absolutely no record of it.
And you asked a very important question. Why don't the people rise up and vote these people out of office? Mainly because a lot of the people who really vote them out of office are moved out of the city or moved out of the state. And I don't know why the other people think they're doing okay. I guess they think because of the fact that, they can wake up in the morning and the sun's clear, the sky's clear, and it's sunshiny, and it's Los Angeles.
All right. That is one of the things that baffles me. Yes, you're right. There's been a lot of Republican, middle class, upper middle class voters that have moved out, and that explains the disparity in the voting over the last 15 years. But tell me why a Democrat wants to live with all the filth and the crime and the needles and the feces and the homeless people and the busted roads and the busted sidewalks. What is it about a Democratic resident, middle class, upper middle class, who has a family? Why would they want to live in this filth?
It beats me. It's beyond comprehension. And you can't. They may say something, but when they may verbalize that they have a problem with it, but when they go and they vote, they continue to put these people in office.
Well, Bruce, it was really nice talking with you. Thank you for coming on with us.
My pleasure. Anytime you need me, John, I'm available.
Yeah, we'll talk again. Bruce Bialosky with the wrote a piece for the California Post. And when we come back, why don't we pick up on something he mentioned? Xavier Becerra. Xavier Becerra, when he's a leading candidate for governor. Again, I have no explanation for this. This should destroy his political career. He lost track, it looks like, of now 130,000 migrant children when all the illegal aliens stormed over the border. And he can't explain where they went. We'll talk about it when we return. Debra Mark live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
We have some breaking news. The FAA has temporarily grounded American Airlines flights nationwide because of an IT outage. The ground stop affected flights that have not yet taken off while the airline worked to restore its systems. It's not immediately clear how many flights were impacted or when normal operations would fully resume. The FBI has been busy serving warrants at homes in Beverly Hills and West Covina. The agency isn't commenting on the nature of the searches, saying the warrants are under seal by a federal court. It's not clear if the warrants are tied to a series of searches that were also carried out today in San Bernardino County, apparently targeting a county supervisor and an Ontario City Council member. Jackie the Bald Eagle is doing better, but she's still not ready to fly.
The matriarch of the famous Big Bear Bald Eagle family is improving after suffering a setback over the weekend. She remains in critical condition. Vets say she is once again eating on her own, is getting more feisty during her feedings, has more energy, and her anemia is not as bad. Jackie was taken to the Ojai Raptor Center July 18th after getting into a fight with two younger eagles. She was weak and extremely anemic. The Raptor Center says vets are continuing intensive treatment for Jackie and are still trying to figure out what caused the anemia and her kidney inflammation. Amy King, KFI News.
The search is continuing for a North Carolina woman who disappeared while vacationing in Grenada. Grenada. Investigators say 44-year-old Liz Waddell was last seen 6 days ago at a beach in St. George's. Surveillance video shows Waddell entering the water for a swim. Grenada police say she has not been seen since.
The Royal Grenada Police Force has not reached or announced any final conclusion regarding the circumstances surrounding Ms. Waddell's missing person's status.
Police say they're speaking with the FBI, but that agents are not working on the search on the island nation. Ford is looking to make your next vehicle purchase like getting a new pair of kicks.
The U.S. car maker says it's expanding its customization menu to generate the same level of hype for its Fords as Nike dropping a sneaker. A pink version of its Bronco SUV has been unveiled with features inspired by the landscape of Salt Lake City. The nearly $14,000 flashy package of floor mats and turbo engines is the first of several limited edition models expected to tap into the $53 billion aftermarket modification industry. Industry experts say Ford's approach of bells and whistles is compensating for a lack of new models. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
We're going to head over to the 60 next.
When you sign your insurance policy, for some brokers, that's it. That's the finish line. You get a handshake, they get a commission, they're done, they're gone, and you may not hear from them again until it's time for renewal. But your business has to run all year, and so do the gaps in insurance and the risk. I'm telling you, that's super sure. If your company has over 25 employees, whether you're the owner, the CFO, or the HR manager, it can all be too complicated just to buy a policy online. Super Sure is the super agency built for you, licensed in every state for your business insurance and employee benefits, all with year-round support for you and your team. At supersure.com, you can access tools like fine print facts, which translates your current policy into plain English so you can see what's covered and what's not. Plus, a business value calculator so you can estimate what your business is worth. You know it needs protecting. Go to supersure.com. It's one super agency, one powerful platform, all your policies in one place. Supersure.com, supersure.com.
Paid for by Supersure Insurance Agency, LLC, a licensed insurance agency.
Southland weather from KFI, sunny tomorrow. Highs 80s, Metro LA. Low to mid 90s in the valleys, mid 80s to mid 90s and windy in the high desert, mid to upper 70s for the beaches, low to mid 80s inland OC, 90s to around 100 and windy in the IE. Right now, 80 in San Juan Capistrano and 82 in Staten. Emergency road work on the 60 in Industry.
It's along the eastbound side, right at Azusa Avenue. They've got the right lane and the Azusa on-ramp off limits right now, and it's to fill potholes. So they say, it's going to be close to 5:45 before they're aiming for 5:45 to get lanes reopened. Hopefully it happens a little beforehand, but until then, we're looking at some pretty slow traffic on that 60 eastbound. Delays overall backing up from the 710 freeway as you travel all the way towards the 57. Let's also look at the 210 in Pasadena. Eastbound slowing from just about Fair Oaks. You're on the brakes and stretches all the way to the 15. The drive's also tough in Ontario. I'm looking at the South 15 right now. It's loading up off of the 10, looking better by the 60. And northbound delays from the 10 to Foothill Boulevard, slowing ahead from about the 210, looking better past Duncan Canyon, and then into the Cajon Pass 215 merge to the 138. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
With Norwegian Cruise Line, you don't have to choose. Whale watching in Cabo San Lucas and French cuisine at Le Bistro. Ziplining through the jungle and relaxing at Mandara Spa and Salon. Beaches of Puerto Vallarta and water slides that bring out your inner 12-year-old. See, you don't have to choose just one kind of vacation, but you do have to choose Norwegian. Book your 7-day Mexican Riviera cruise sailing from LA or San Diego. Visit ncl.com, call your travel advisor, or 1-888-NCL-CRUISE. Norwegian Cruise Line. It's different out here.
In this edition of the Marketer's Report, Monica Tam, head of brand media for DoorDash, discusses the power of audio influencers.
I think when you're tapping into voices like hosts and podcasters, you're being able to be part of that community, but in a very authentic way.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
Love your legs again. Feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
Call 844-GO-SMILE to learn about the new Lifestyle Smile dental implants from Lasting Smiles.
Have questions about plastic surgery? Get trusted answers from Dr. Raban at plasticsurgeryuncensored.com.
Toyota's We Make It Easy sales event is here to keep your summer moving. Get great deals on Toyotas built for any summer adventure. Like the all-hybrid Camry with efficiency and style that never cools down. Tacoma with the power to take your summer to new heights. Or RAV4 Hybrid with the versatility and range for all your plans. Don't miss great deals on Toyota's most popular models. We make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
What can you do at Toyota.com? Better question, what can't you do? Because at Toyota.com, you can check out our latest models, search our inventory, and see our latest offers. You can even build and price your new Toyota right online, picking the exact model and color that's right for you. Whether you just want to download a brochure or you're ready to buy, all things Toyota are at Toyota.com. We make it easy. Toyota, let's go places.
KFI.
It's fun, but also factual.
The information, the way they give it, the format, it's all really good.
KFI is the most honest. The other stations, they do a lot of political correct nonsense.
You guys rock.
It's everyday consistency, current news.
I love KFI because they tell it like it is.
They take shots at everyone.
Oh, you like listening to boring stuff? No, listen to KFI 640. I love KFI. I love listening to them.
KFI, AM 640.
More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640 live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We're on every day from 3 until 6. And then if you miss any part of the show, you listen to the podcast after 6 o'clock. It's on the iHeart app, John Kobylt Show on Demand. And today, in the first half hour, we had a dramatic reading starring Debra Mark as Ruby Rippey, the mistress to Gavin Newsom during his years as mayor. She worked in his office along with her husband, and they just had a child, and she was drunk and coked out, and Newsom had this wild, mostly sexual affair with her because why not? It was kind of easy in the condition she was in. She was, by her own account, completely intoxicated with him. And very colorful piece that she wrote for Vanity Fair that got published today. And Debra played the role of Ruby Rippey in our dramatic reenactment.
Yes, I did.
Yes. I think that could be used as a product, just recordings of you doing your Ruby Rippey impersonation.
I'm going to change my name.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Ruby.
There's a, that's right. You could have a stage name.
I can.
That's right. The Ruby Rippey OnlyFans site. Yeah. Anyway, you should listen to it. Everybody seemed to enjoy it. Javier Becerra, we just had our guest on, the political columnist, Bruce Bialosky, talk about, just what a dud, what a stooge Javier Becerra is.
Javier Becerra.
Correct. And he is. I mean, he's going to replicate most, if not all, of Newsom's policies. And he's utterly without accomplishment. He got appointed as Attorney General, appointed to Biden's cabinet as Human Health Services Secretary, and now he's running against Steve Hilton. And Steve Hilton is out there every day explaining in great detail everything that is gone wrong in the California government, and with specific solutions, specific proposals on how to fix things. And it's all like Spencer Pratt. It's all logic and common sense and truth. And it looks like a majority of Californians are absolutely impervious to logic, common sense, and truth. And I don't know what to make of this. Unlike anything I've ever seen. And we're going to have Katy Grimes on after Debra's News at 5 o'clock. And Katy talks about Hilton's press conference he did today to expose Javier Becerra's migrant child abuse camps. Now, the estimates were originally 85,000 children that Becerra lost track of as people were pouring over the border during the Biden administration. a whistleblower named Chris Clem, who's a former senior advisor to Health and Human Services that Becerra was in charge of, says the real number of what the department lost track of was 130,000. And then in Hilton's press conference today, they were talking about maybe it's up to 319,000. And if you're wondering what it means to lose them, well, they came over the border in droves over. Well, the problem started going back to 2012. As soon as Barack Obama signed the DACA bill, which gave an amnesty to the existing illegal alien children in this country, well, more started pouring over the border because why not? If they're doing this amnesty now, they'll probably do it again. And then when Biden and his destructive communist staff blew the border wide open, we got hundreds of thousands of kids, and there was nowhere to put them. They didn't come here with relatives or family, adult friends or sponsors, nothing. And they were sent off all over the country. They disappeared. A lot of them end up being trafficked, and I kind of hate that term because it obscures what happened. We're talking about they were sold into sexual slavery. They became child prostitutes. If you don't believe that, let's go on a drive down Figueroa Boulevard here in Los Angeles, where there is a thriving public outdoor child sex industry made up of immigrant children under the age of 13 and many young teenagers as well. Of course, Gavin Newsom signed a bill that practically, in practicality, legalized the whole situation. So the police can't even touch the pimps and the child prostitutes. So Bialosky has tried to do something about it with the Department of Justice, and he's the U.S. attorney for the Central District here. But let's go, until Katie comes on, let's go with the 130,000 count. If they didn't end up being sex trafficked, they ended up working in a lot of factories, like slaughterhouses, meatpacking factories, very young kids. And when Becerra was confronted with this at one point, he said, well, they need to do some kind of work. There's huge sex trafficking cartels run by the Mexican gangs. But after the border was overrun with illegal alien children, the government started contacting nonprofit organizations to provide shelter. Well, again, this is Becerra handing out contracts to nonprofits. And I'm telling you, the nonprofit industry really needs to be largely exterminated in this country. In this case, there was all kinds of abuse inside the shelters, sexual and violence abuse. And then during the Biden term, there was this huge surge. Tens of thousands of children moved through the system. They were lost. They're working on farms. It's all slave labor, whether it's factory work, or the meat packing, the slaughterhouse, the farms, sex in the streets. It's all slavery. So he created this illegal alien child underclass of slaves, and Becerra was the Secretary of Health and Human Services. He was in charge of the system to track them and make sure they ended up somewhere safe. If they were going to be in this country, at least they'd be with someone who would take care of them. He didn't care. And now when you ask him about this, he just waves his hands and dismisses it, saying it's Trump talking points, which is a really stupid answer from a stupid man. And if people would stop accepting a deflection like that, oh, well, he said something nasty about Trump there. Oh, it's cool. I like him. It's like, stop being 8 years old. These children are suffering. They came here for the, quote, better life. That was a load of garbage. They're now working as slaves. They're packing your meat. They're picking your fruits and vegetables. Everybody got so self-righteous about the illegal alien adults who do that work. But now you got the little children doing the work, and suddenly nobody cares. Well, nobody knows where most of these kids went. But for somehow, much of the state wants to put Becerra in charge of everything here. He's never had a success in his life. And if you know of one, you could go ahead and let me know what it is.
Javier Becerra.
When we come back after 5 o'clock, Katy Grimes from California Globe is going to come on, and because she wrote a piece today about Steve Hilton holding a press conference exposing Becerra's migrant child abuse camps, which is what they were. More coming up. Debra Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. That nationwide ground stop of American Airlines flights due to an IT outage has been canceled at all airports except for Charlotte, North Carolina. Lineage Logistics files a permit to rebuild that cold storage warehouse in Boyle Heights. We'll have more at the top of the hour. We're going to go to the 5 next.
You're hurt in an accident? Well, that's like a punch in the gut that you never saw coming. God, I saw 3 accidents on the way to work today. The attorneys at Sweet James know the agony, the disruption, and the devastation that people go through. Sweet James has spent 25 years fighting for injured accident victims. They have the experience, the reputation, and the care to help you make your comeback. They've helped thousands of people like you recover when an accident has changed their life. They've won over $1 billion for their clients. They can't guarantee the outcome, but you want a law firm like Sweet James on your side when you need somebody the most. Their number is 1-800-9-MILLION, 800-9-000-000. If you're hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, you call the attorneys at Sweet James, and you pay nothing until they win, and they have an office in Los Angeles. Again, the number is 1-800-9-MILLION, 1-800-9-000-000, sweetjames.com.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny tomorrow. Highs 70s to around 100. This report brought to you by Think It Up. From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. Stall on the 5 in Laguna Hills.
So this one is along the southbound side, right at El Toro Road. It looks like they've just cleared it to the shoulder, but the drive is pretty heavy away from Lake Forest Drive. And also, I'm hearing about a problem. This one is in... We're going to head out to Lake Elsinore with a wreck. Highway 74 past the main divide road, 2 lanes blocked there. And that drive is a mess away from Ortega Rocks Candy Store. The drive's also a mess in Rancho Cucamonga with a crash, 210 eastbound before Milliken, blocking the left lane, serving up a slow drive away from Mountain Avenue. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
GiveMeTheVIN.com. You can sell your car with them in a hot minute. You go try it. Enter your VIN number and get an offer fast at GiveMeTheVIN.com. And their offers beat CarMax and Carvana every day. And if they can't do it, they'll pay you $100. GiveMeTheVIN.com. They'll get you your check on the spot. Super easy, super fast. GiveMeTheVIN.com. America's best car buyer.
Sell us your car. GiveMe.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
Think It Up is an initiative to activate student-powered, teacher-led learning projects. Students and teachers, how can you spark great learning experiences in your classrooms today? Join at thinkitup.org.
This report is sponsored by Whole Foods Market. Save on summer stone fruit at Whole Foods Market. Get organic yellow nectarines for $3.49 per pound with Prime through July 28th. Bite into this best of season fruit for a delectable treat. While supplies last, shop in-store or online. Terms apply.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Hey, it's Conway here for Cars for Kids. We've donated 2 vehicles to Cars for Kids, and man, was it easy. Cars for Kids has been around for 30 years, and they know what they're doing. I recently saw firsthand one of their summer programs going on right now where they have over 1,400 kids. I saw hundreds of kids in the camp, and they couldn't thank Cars for Kids enough for making this incredible opportunity possible. So when you donate a car, you're helping real kids thrive this summer. CarsForKids.org. 1-877-CARS-FOR-KIDS. KARS Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K.
It's your home equity. Shouldn't you be able to access it? Well, the bank said otherwise. When HELOC said no, Splatero said go. There's only a 500 minimum credit score and no income requirement. And you keep your existing mortgage rate. Visit Splatero.com today.
After an accident, one question comes to mind. What happens next? Wilshire Law Firm brings clarity when things feel uncertain. While you focus on healing, we fight for the compensation you deserve. That's what happens next. Call now. 1-800-ABCDEFG. Wilshire Law Firm is in LA.
Fix your termite problem with no move out. Seen termite droppings or discarded wings? Call Pacific Coast Termite for a free inspection. If needed, get no tent, no gas treatment with a 2-year warranty. Call today and they'll be there within 5 days. Call 800-PACIFIC. Some restrictions apply.
Tap into happy hour with half-price pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is a new podcast where secrets come out, emotions run high, and no topic is off limits. Brought to you by AirTasker. Whether it's a task that just popped up or you've been putting it off for weeks, local taskers are ready to help. Listen to Therapy Thursday with Ellen K now on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
If you run a business, you know how hard it is to get your customers' attention. Yet 85% of consumers say radio is the last thing they hear before shopping. Let iHeartRadio help you reach your next customer today at 844-844-iHeart.
What if we told you Matt Damon was screaming on set to get his voice weather warned for The Odyssey? From the TikTok Podcast Network, Raiders of the Lost Podcast has the whole story about the biggest movies of the summer. Download the iHeartRadio app and search Raiders of the Lost Podcast now.
KFI, AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Researchers at UCLA studying marmots were worried that their funding was going to go away.
So they got creative, and they did what many young entrepreneurs are doing these days.
They opened an OnlyFans site.
Tomorrow, Monks and Merrill on KFI starting at noon.
KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. And the Moist line is 877-MOIST-86. 877-MOIST-86, or use the talkback feature on the iHeartRadio app. And we're live on YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube and on X. All right. We've got video streams running on both those sites. And after 6 o'clock, you can hear the podcast. I want to play you this clip. You know, nobody ever, much of the problem we have in the state is people do not pay attention to anything that matters. That's how you end up with Xavier Becerra running for governor. We'll talk more about that with Katy Grimes in the next segment. But think of all the trouble we've all had. I don't know anybody who hasn't had trouble with their insurance. Paying a fortune, whether it's home insurance, car insurance, health insurance, everything. And in California, we have an insurance commissioner who's supposed to represent us, and we got this notorious loser, Ricardo Lara, who pranced around the globe attending conferences and going to parades, and the whole home insurance industry went to hell. Car insurance, and you get bills, aren't they? They're just outrageous.
Absolutely.
I mean, far beyond anything I've ever could imagined, right? You always get a few percentage increases every year. And I understand when disasters happen, you got to take a hit. But, oh, my God, and much of it was because of just horrific laws written by Ricardo Lara and Newsom.
What about when disasters don't happen? So why don't we get a discount then?
Right. When we have a good year, they like to quote disasters, and they'll quote a fire from 7 years ago. Well, we've got a new woman who's running for office. We've got two candidates left, Ben Allen and someone named Jane Kim. And Jane Kim went on Channel 3 in Sacramento with Ashley Zavala. Now, you're going to have to listen to this because Ashley Zavala asks 3 different ways, what is Jane Kim's experience? She's with the California Working Families Party. Ever hear of that? It's a progressive party. It's another one of these quasi-communist parties. But she's on the ballot. The only other one besides Ben Allen. Well, Ashley Zavala says, so what's your experience in the insurance industry? Listen to how many times Ashley asks and how many times Jane Kim just pours out diarrhea.
So first, I just want to ask you, what is your experience in insurance and what makes you qualified for this position?
Yeah, so I'm running for an office which oversees a $3.3 trillion insurance industry. It's the most important job that many Californians haven't heard of. And the role of this office is to be the watchdog for everyday Californians, for consumers. It's really the only backstop between the industry and making sure that that they're playing fairly and by the rules. So she describes
the job
and that also we have affordable and available insurance. I spent the last 20 years in this realm, both as an organizer, as a civil rights attorney, and also as an elected official. I served on the San Francisco Board of Supervisors and School Board. And I've really spent my whole life dedicated to championing consumers and fighting for rules and programs that really make this economy work for all of us.
Specifically in the insurance industry or with the insurance industry, you fought for these things?
Well, the insurance industry is a really critical part of our economy. We are required to have it to drive to work or to school, to qualify for a mortgage, to buy a first home, to open a business of any kind.
Captain
and
Obvious.
So we have to make insurance affordable and available. Otherwise, we're going to shut everyday people out of the economy. My work, both as a civil rights attorney and as a policymaker, is to really think about how we can make this economy fair and how we can make sure that
what's your experience?
Everyday folks can participate in the economy. If you can't get insurance, you can't meaningfully participate.
Try again.
And a huge part of this office is to also enforce the very good laws that the state has passed. And that is a big part of the job that I'm running for.
Okay, but it's to clarify and just to be, clear.
Third try.
Do you have experience in insurance, dealing directly with the industry in any of those capacities?
Yeah, I think that there's often, sometimes there's a misunderstanding about what this job actually is. This job is the Consumer Watchdog Office. It is a leadership and policy role to help make the system work for everyday people. That is what I've dedicated my career to as a civil rights attorney, as a legislator.
Oh my God, just stop talking. Oh my God, I have a bad headache. That is Jane Kim. And we had 2 insurance commissioner candidates on our show we interviewed, both Republicans. So, of course, they both lost to this bubblehead. Absolutely empty. Where do these people come from? How do they learn to talk like that? They jibber jabber and jibber jabber. She did over 2 minutes there. Ashley Zavala asked her 3 times, what's your experience? Basic job interview question. Question 1 when you sit down with somebody. So what's your experience in this industry? Oh my God. So Ben Allen is running against her. He's a legislator from the Santa Monica area. Pretty left-wing Democrat, but compared to this, an absolute idiot. What is the California Working Families Party? All these made up parties, and it's all different flavors of communism and socialism. It's all the same thing. Is this somebody she got kicked out of the DSA? All right. We come back. Katy Grimes on Xavier Becerra. Hilton did a big press conference on Becerra's losing hundreds of thousands of illegal alien children who cross the border. Debra Mark live, KFI 24-hour newsroom.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
Building permit. I'm Debra Mark live from the KFI 24-hour newsroom. Lineage Logistics has filed a permit to rebuild the cold storage warehouse in Boyle Heights. That's according to online records first obtained by the news website LA Material. The permit was filed yesterday. That was the same day LA Mayor Bass shared a video critical of the company on social media.
Lineage shouldn't even think about coming back and rebuilding this warehouse. Every day this site isn't cleaned up is another day families are forced to live with the consequences of an irresponsible corporation.
Lineage says in a statement its top priority is completing the cleanup and that the permit application is only to repair fire damage. The company says the fire was not caused by its cold storage operations. LA County Supervisor Catherine Barger is calling for a $25,000 reward for information leading to whoever vandalized a mural at a Pasadena Jewish center that was heavily damaged in the Eaton fire. Anti-Semitic graffiti was discovered last week, marking the second attack at the center this year. The County Board of Supervisors is expected to consider the reward next week. The National Weather Service's dangerous heat will return across Southern California by Friday and continue through the weekend. Extreme heat warnings have been issued for many inland areas where temps could top 100 degrees. American Airlines says it has restored its systems after an IT outage temporarily grounded flights nationwide. The FAA lifted the ground stop except for Charlotte, North Carolina, after the airline resolved the issue, but travelers may still experience delays as operations return to normal. American says it's investigating what caused the outage. 3 firefighters battling the Greed Fire near Yucaipa are out of a hospital after minor injuries. One was treated for heat-related injuries. San Bernardino County Fire Department Captain Sean Millerick said the other 2 were on steep terrain where rocks were breaking loose.
One got hit in the ankle and one was hit in the stomach. They were both taken to local hospitals and released.
The fires burned 33 acres since it started yesterday afternoon. It's 0% surrounded. Evacuation warnings have been issued for Mountain Home Village. The Senate has voted to make Jay Clayton the next director of national intelligence. Clayton is the former Securities and Exchange Commission chair and current U.S. attorney for the Southern District of New York. Big companies are spending more of their marketing dollars on small-time influencers.
New data says $21 billion will go to social media influencers this year, with 45% of it going to creators with less than 20,000 followers. Companies including Target and American Eagle are paying people with a ring light telling you to like and subscribe and, oh yeah, buy this product, who have less than 5,000 or even as few as 500 followers. Marketing firms say these small influencers may have smaller audiences, but they get 3 times more engagement than the bigger influencers, while they're only getting paid with $10 gift cards and some discounts. More than half of full-time creators say they make less than a living wage. Michael Crozier, KFI News.
We're going to go to the 91 next.
If you're looking to sell your home, call Seller's Advantage, and they're going to make you a cash offer, no need for repairs. They can close in days, they buy with cash, they buy as is. They might offer you a $10,000 advance to help you move. Call for a no-obligation offer, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-AS-IS, 888-321-2747, sellersadvantage.com.
Seller's Advantage will buy your home, make it easy so that you don't have to worry. Sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRE number is 0961658. Providence Realty DRE number is 0191522.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny tomorrow. Highs 80s. Metro LA, low to mid 90s in the valleys, mid 80s to mid 90s, and windy in the high desert. Mid to upper 70s at the beaches, low to mid 80s inland OC, 90s to around 100, and windy in the IE. Right now, 77 in Dana Point, 82 in Anaheim, 87 in Diamond Bar, 85 in Simi Valley. The KFI Financial Update brought to you by Supersure, supersure.com. One super agency, one powerful platform, all your business insurance in one place. The Dow closed up 537, S&P 500 up 16, and NASDAQ down 55. Crash on the 91 in Artesia.
It's along the eastbound side coming up on Pioneer Boulevard where the right lane is blocked. Delays are backing up out of Carson, getting away from Main Street. And then beyond the wreck, that 91 eastbound, well, you remain on the brakes in stretches all the way to Green River into Corona. The drive is also tough on the westbound side of the 91. That's where I'm seeing delays heading towards the 605. It's backing up out of Cerritos, getting away from just about Bloomfield, heavy ahead to the 605, and opening up finally by Lakewood Boulevard. Tough in Rancho Cucamonga. This is a problem on the 210. Making your way eastbound before Milligan. Crash in the carpool in 2 left lanes, slowing you down away from Mountain Avenue. And let's look at the Cajon Pass. This is the 15 heading northbound. That drive's already heavy and slow. I'm seeing delays here, backing up off of the 215 merge to the 138. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
I'm not great with words after a fight, and I'm sorry wasn't cutting it this time. So I used Smile Tunes to write a soulful ballad about how she's always right. By the second chorus, the silent treatment was officially over. Visit smiletunes.com and get out of the doghouse today.
Lose the weight, feel incredible. Just call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
Would you take 15 seconds to save 15% to freshen your breath? Go to Zellmans.com and use the code SAVE. That's ZELMINS.com. Use the code SAVE for fresh, clean breath for hours.
When power goes out and cell networks fail, AM radio can be a lifeline with local news, weather, and emergency information. But time is running out. AM radio could disappear from new cars unless Congress acts. Please text the 2 letters AM to 39179 and tell Congress to vote yes on the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act. Text the letters AM to 39179. Message and data rates may apply. You may receive up to 4 messages a month, and you may text STOP to stop. This message furnished by this station.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival
Presented by Capital One
is coming back to Las Vegas.
September 18th and 19th at T-Mobile Arena. Streaming live on Disney Plus and Hulu. A weekend full of superstar performances.
Tickets are on sale now at AXS.com.
Shows, meals, drinks, even a roller coaster ride. All-inclusive 2-night stay at Luxor or Excalibur, starting at $330 for 2. Visit MGMResorts.com.
KFI AM 640.
An iHeartRadio station. Guaranteed human.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. We're on from 3 to 6. Podcast after 6 o'clock on the iHeart app. And listen to the first hour because we had a little radio play we did of Ruby Rippey's confession, I guess, about the affair she had with Gavin Newsom 20 years ago when he was San Francisco mayor. She worked for him. So did Ruby's husband. And Newsom went for her, even though she was suffering from alcoholism and a cocaine addiction. And he was drinking a lot, too. She was married with a kid with those problems. And Gavin went after her. Holy mackerel.
It's spicy.
A starring performance playing the sultry vixen, Ruby Rippey, by Debra Mark. And you'll enjoy it. Katy Grimes coming on now. Katy, we'll talk with her about the Newsom Ruby Riley affair. Ruby Rippey's Ruby Rippey. And we'll also talk about Steve Hilton's press conference on Xavier Becerra's migrant child abuse camps. Let's get Katy Grimes on here.
Hey, John.
Hey, I'm sure you read the Vanity Fair piece this morning by Ruby Rippey. What was your reaction to it? Pretty steamy.
It sure painted Gavin Newsom as a predator. I think that part's really clear.
Oh, yeah. She's a very troubled woman. And to go after your campaign manager, deputy chief of staff's wife, who's working there, and she clearly has had some issues, and he didn't care at all.
I actually thought, her article was, no excuses, not even self-deprecating. Just look, I was a hot mess. drinking, got into coke, ended up in rehab. Look, I own up to what I did. And, she wasn't trying to pretend, I think, at all to be some sort of victim. However, in all that, all I could think of was, if you were a hot mess, it was probably pretty evident. And what a predator he was. The mayor of the city of San Francisco, you work in his office, and he chooses you to go after? I've known men like that, and I'm telling you, there's no rehab for that kind of predation.
No, that is true sociopathic behavior. No conscience, no regrets. No, it doesn't. Somebody like that, it doesn't bother them. And I think a lot of people have trouble understanding what sociopathic behavior is. You can't shame them. They don't feel it.
No, and it's also why you do see so many sociopaths and screaming narcissists in politics. They don't really care about your feelings, and they really don't even care when they're called a hypocrite or a jerk or arrogant or all the things that we call people like that. And it is extremely disturbing, unfortunately, to have somebody like that leading our state and thinking he should be in the White House.
Yeah. Do you think this will finally, this and the possible criminal investigation swirling around him and his wife, is this finally going to put out the light here? And people are going to stop taking him seriously as a presidential candidate?
Yeah, I really do. I mean, it doesn't mean he's going to give up. We know that. But I do think that it's already stained his campaign. There's just way too much smoke around him, and it's not like, like if all he did was step out during COVID to the French Laundry dinner and then pretended to mea culpa everyone, that would be one thing. But there's that and all this other stuff that, we've been reporting on, you've been reporting on. There's just too much there. I think it adds up to one real arrogant, soulless human being with unbridled ambition. And I think that's the last person you want in politics.
He's been awfully quiet. So has his press department. They seem to be very restrained in recent weeks. He's hired a major attorney, Abby Lovell. It seems like there is some kind of dark cloud hanging over him now, and he knows it.
Agree. I think the investigations into the nonprofits and the behest payments he's been doing for years, which are nothing more than a shakedown of large corporations, abusing your oath of office, frankly. But yeah, again, you add it all up. And as you and I have talked about several times, I also think there is no getting around the fact that it needs looking at how he's living in a $9 million house in Marin County and owns one in Sacramento that's $4 million. Wow.
The most popular video online that we've ever had on the show was the interview with you talking about just that, about how he could afford a $9 million house on his salary. We got about like 1 million hits online for that once that started going viral. And
because we need to keep asking that question until somebody finally digs into it, because it's their homes. There's got to be paper trails.
Yeah, it just doesn't add up. Can you hang on for another segment? And I want to get it now to Steve Hilton and the Xavier Becerra migrant child abuse camps, because you did a whole long piece on that. He had a big press conference on it. And that's another thing. The reaction to it here in California kind of baffles me, because this is terrible stuff that he's responsible for. All right. So we'll talk more with Katy Grimes. California Globe is where you can read all this. And Katy will be on with us next segment. But first, we've got some more news. Debra Mark live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. LA leaders are criticizing Lineage after the company filed an application to rebuild its fire-damaged Boyle Heights warehouse. And the U.S. military says Iran launched ballistic missiles at U.S. forces in the Middle East. We will have more at the bottom of the hour. We are going to go to the 5 next.
Infinity Bank. When it comes to banking, are all your eggs in one basket? What happens when your card doesn't work? You have to look at the back of the card to find the 800 number. Well, what happens if your wallet is stolen? Who will be that reliable source when you need money, new cards, or assurance that your money is safe? Well, rest assured, you won't have to worry about that with Infinity Bank. You call Victor Guerrero, the president, to set up a new... Call Victor Guerrero, the president, Just a total breakdown here. Call Victor Guerrero, the president, to set up a new account today. 657-223-1000. 657-223-1000. He runs the bank way better than I read. And for a limited time only, don't miss out on one of the best rates in the U.S. with their money market savings account, Infinity Bank.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny tomorrow. Highs ranging from the 70s to around 100. This report brought to you by Albertsons and Vons. From your Toyota dealer's traffic center, we make it easy. Crash on the 5 in Burbank.
This one's along the northbound side at Olive. Now, at last check, it had that off-ramp blocked. A couple of cars got into it. Delays off of the 134 freeway on the 5 northbound before Terabella heading into Pacoima. That's a stalled car blocking the carpool lane, adding to that slow drive off of the 134. Let's also check out Rancho Cucamonga. They cleared this crash on the 210 eastbound before Milliken. All lanes are open. Delays recovering away from Mountain Avenue. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
If you haven't had a termite inspection in the last 3 years, don't wait for costly damage. Call Pacific Coast Termite for a free termite inspection from a licensed technician. If you have termite activity, we have the right treatment. No tent, no poisonous gas, no move out. Orange oil treatment will have minimal disruption at home with tenants or your business. Get 10% off, a 2-year warranty, and 90 days same as cash. OAC, serving all of SoCal. Call 800-PACIFIC, PacificCoastTermite.com. Some restrictions apply.
This week at Vons and Albertsons, fresh split chicken breasts, bone-in value packs are $1.69 per pound with membership where applicable. And 18-count Lucerne large eggs are $1.99 each. Limit 3 with digital coupon on Vons or Albertsons.com.
This report is sponsored by Blindster.com.
Hi, I'm Kyle at Blindster.com. Tired of overpriced blinds? Blindster makes custom blinds simple and affordable. You measure at home, install yourself, and save big. No retail store markups, just custom blinds guaranteed to fit. Blindster.com.
Therapy Thursday with Ellen K is a new iHeart podcast. Real-life drama with real-life consequences and advice that might just save the day. Hear it now on the iHeartRadio app and wherever you get your podcasts.
If you run a business, you know the value of trust. It's what keeps your customers coming back. And it's what you get when you advertise with iHeart. More than 75% of listeners consider iHeart hosts their friends and trust their recommendations. Now take that trusted influence and combine it with iHeart's massive reach and scale, and you've got the formula for growing your business. Learn how easy it is to tell your story through our voices. Call 844-844-iHeart today. That's 844-844-iHeart.
In this edition of the Marketers Report, Monica Tam, head of brand media for DoorDash, talks about audio's connection to daily rituals.
Audio plays a really important role. There's daily rituals that you do. In all of those moments, you're able to instill a message that lingers in their head when they do have to make that decision.
As the #1 audio company, iHeartMedia connects marketers to the audiences, live conversations, and trusted influencers you need to grow. If you're a marketer, go to iHeartAdvertising.com.
You ever wonder how far an EV can take you on one charge? Well, most people drive about 40 miles a day, which means you can do all daily stuff no problem. Go to work, grab the kids at school, get the groceries, and still have enough charge to visit your in-laws in the next county. But they don't need to know that. And the best part, you won't have to buy gas at all. The way forward is electric. Explore EVs that fit your life at electricforall.org.
Why do you love movies? Is it the emotion, the spectacle, the escapism? On Raiders of the Lost podcast, we explore cinema like no one else, including huge interviews with stars like Ryan Gosling on Project Hail Mary.
It was like the Jaws shark. Didn't always work, came with its own problems. That's what made it great. The heart of the movie is Rocky and Grace, and their friendship is hard-earned.
Open your free iHeartRadio app, search Raiders of the Lost podcast, and listen now.
KFI AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Coming up on the next Gary and Shannon show.
Well, there's a new cult leader that's coming into question, and guess what? She's from Southern California.
The Gary and Shannon show starts tomorrow at 9.
$1,000 to give away now.
Now is your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Preset. That's Preset. Enter it now at KFIAM640.com/cash.
KFI. Preset. That's the word. Enter it at KFIAM640.com/cash. If you win, you get an email. Check your junk and spam folder. New keyword every hour, every weekday. Starts at 9 in the morning to 5 in the afternoon. Next chance to win is tomorrow morning at 9:20 with Gary and Shannon here on KFI. We continue with Katy Grimes, CaliforniaGlobe.com. You should be reading that site every day. It's got all the latest and primarily what they're doing up in Sacramento. And none of it's any good. Now, Steve Hilton, who's running against Xavier Becerra for governor as a Republican, he had a press conference about Xavier Becerra's migrant child abuse camps. We talked about this a little bit last hour. I want to get into more detail because Katy has written a piece. Katy, what was the thrust of what Hilton was saying here? I know there are whistleblowers who are speaking out now, investigative journalists. What's the general story for people not familiar?
The general story is that with the millions of illegal immigrants crossing the U.S.-Mexico border during the Biden administration, there were millions. Children went missing, and we heard little bits and pieces of that during the Biden administration. There were reporters down at the border who were reporting on this stuff, but it never caught any traction. So now there is this new brief that's been done, which really goes into detail on how many of these children there were being handled by the Health and Human Services Agency, of which Xavier Becerra was the director of, the secretary, and what these shelters were like, how these children were abused. Little children which had been separated from parents, separated from siblings. Maybe they didn't even arrive with any family, and they were subjected to the most horrific conditions that should make everyone in America just appalled and frankly, just it makes me ashamed almost that this went on right under our noses. The conditions were horrible. There were little cots up in these massive warehouses. They were warehousing children, and these children were left to sleep on filthy sheets and beds. They were given garbage food to eat. One of these, I read the report, and it said children were fed bloody chicken and expired milk and given water that was unfit to drink, denied medicine. Staff laughed at them. While this was going on, children were sick. They were depressed. It just keeps going. There was this one investigative journalist who had tracked down some of these children. He said 2 siblings were sent to a labor trafficking ring in Florida, meaning they were sold into debt servitude. In order to, they're told, if you work, we will not be paying you, but you will be working off your debt. So a lot of kids, ended up like that. The other thing that they dispelled, and I was very, very glad to hear this, is the New York Times was out there saying, oh, it's only 85,000 children that, this happened to, and, some of those were missing. Like, that's okay. But the report said no. 449,000 children, unaccompanied illegal alien children, were the responsibility of Health and Human Services. And of those, 319,000 were lost. Since the Trump administration has been looking for those, now we're down to 140,000 of those children still missing.
And they found them working in these warehouses and factories and farms, I guess, all over the country.
Yeah.
I've read slaughterhouses and meatpacking plants and just the worst conditions imaginable.
Exactly. It made me so angry that earlier this week I wrote a story about Alameda County passing a reparations bill for supposed family, people who had family members as slaves, and I'm thinking, this is slavery. Our own government was doing this under our noses the last 4 years, so they could just shut up with their reparations bills.
Yeah, no, I'm sick, fed up with listening to that, because here's what they're doing to live children, very young children. And then, here in Los Angeles, we're the center of sex trafficking, prostitution. It's out on the street on Figueroa Boulevard. There's hundreds of young girls, like under 13, being bought and sold for sex and raped right in the streets. And the police drive by it every day, and nobody does anything here.
That's Karen Bass's L.A., isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's unbelievable horror what these children were subjected to, what they're still being subjected to. And this is not just Steve Hilton pulling this out of thin air. This is the Department of Homeland Security. The Office of Inspector General did a massive report into this and confirmed that there were 448 or 449,000 unaccompanied minor children, and they were supposedly released to sponsors. Well, a lot of these kids arrived in this country and somebody had written on their arm in Sharpie a phone number and, like Auntie Mary's house or something. And the kids, most of the times, didn't even know who Auntie Mary was. This was supposed to be their adult sponsor here. And HHS was not even verifying those or doing any background checks on who these people were. And so is it any wonder that so many of these children ended up in, indentured servitude or sex trafficking?
I don't get how they developed this modern slavery phenomenon all across the country involving hundreds of thousands of young children. And it goes almost unnoticed by all the major media outlets on purpose, obviously.
Yeah, I haven't seen a major media outlet really cover this in depth yet. I'm wondering if I ever will. I'm hoping at least LA media is doing it besides you.
No, LA media does nothing. They do absolutely nothing here. They just do lifestyle stories for hours and hours a day. Nothing of any consequence anymore.
That's so depressing. Well, in my article, I have links to everything. I have links to the press conference, links to the whistleblower interviews. I have links to the Office of Inspector General report. So for anybody that really wants to know more, it's all right there.
You do great work, Katy. Thank you for coming on with us. And as more comes out, we'll certainly keep publicizing it. I mean, Hilton is doing a wonderful job pointing out this was all under Becerra's nose. This was his department here all those years. All right. Thanks, Katy. CaliforniaGlobe.com. We'll talk with you soon. All right. We got more coming up. Debra Mark is live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.
The National Weather Service is issuing another extreme heat warning for LA County. It will be in place from Friday at 10 a.m. to Monday at 8 p.m. Forecasters are calling for dangerous conditions with highs ranging from 95 to 110 degrees. Heat hazards could extend into next week. LA leaders are criticizing Lineage after the company filed an application to rebuild its fire-damaged warehouse in Boyle Heights. LA Mayor Bass and other officials say the company should focus on cleaning up the site before rebuilding, while nearby residents continue to complain about foul odors and pests. Lineage says the permit is part of the normal repair process, won't interfere with cleanup, and is only intended to fix damage from the fire, which the company says was not caused by its cold storage operations. A young lifeguard who rescued a boy from dangerous waves in Santa Cruz will be honored by the president.
The rescue happened Saturday at Seabright State Beach near the Santa Cruz boardwalk. Bystander video shows the boy overpowered by waves and the 16-year-old lifeguard rushing to him. Waves pound the two as the lifeguard eventually carries the boy to safety. In a social media post, President Trump called the lifeguard heroic and said he'll bring him and his family to the White House for a high civilian honor. Dangerous conditions remain at California beaches with waves up to 10 feet and strong rip currents. Orange County lifeguards reported more than 400 rescues just last weekend. Mark Rauner, KFI News.
The Senate has confirmed Jay Clayton as the next director of national intelligence. He was confirmed by a 51-47 vote that was along party lines. Before the vote, Democratic Senator Ron Wyden of Oregon accused Clayton of prioritizing loyalty to President Trump over other responsibilities, saying he repeated baseless conspiracy theories
about American elections, refused to acknowledge who won the 2020 election, and participated in an abusive investigation of American journalists while providing false testimony to Congress about that investigation.
Clayton is the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York and a former Securities and Exchange Commission chairman. A new report says the Trump administration's deadly strikes on suspected drug smuggling boats have not reduced the flow of cocaine into the U.S. The Washington Post says DEA analysts found traffickers have adapted by changing routes and using larger boats and aircraft, while cocaine prices and purity remain largely unchanged. And the U.S. military says Iran launched ballistic missiles at U.S. forces in the Middle East, but all of the missiles were intercepted. CENTCOM called it an attempted surprise attack and said no impacts were reported. Heading over to the 405 next.
Declare your independence from dated, tired windows. This July, this month, only a few days left, American Vision Windows is offering a savings of $1,776 off new windows. That's your savings. New windows not only lower your energy bills, but lock in your comfort all year and give your home a curb appeal boost. And your neighbors are going to notice. More importantly, you'll notice. With 25 years and more than 1 million windows installed, American Vision Windows is California's most trusted window replacement company, and they're employee-owned. Every employee has a personal stake in getting your project right. You can expect a smooth process, most projects completed in a day, so you're not living in a construction zone. New customers only, restrictions apply. Offer ends July 31st. This month, your project will cost a lot less, $1,776 less, but you have to book it by July 31st, which is just days away. AmericanVisionWindows.com. Call 888-771-2188. 888-771-2188.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny tomorrow. Highs 80s. Metro LA, low to mid 90s in the valleys. Mid 80s to mid 90s and windy again in the high desert. Mid to upper 70s for the beaches, low to mid 80s inland OC, 90s to around 100 and windy again in the IE. Right now, 81 in Laguna Woods and 85 in Rancho Santa Margarita. Crash on the 405 in Long Beach.
This one has been reported on the southbound side of the 405. Coming up on Cherry, that's where it looks like they may have just cleared these guys out of lanes. Second lane from the left is where it was last seen, but delays are backing up all the way from Redondo Beach Boulevard. Also, another problem in Pacoima. This is the 5 northbound before Terabella. Stall's been plugging up the carpool lane, slowing things down away from Tuxford Street. And in Commerce, this is the 5 northbound before Atlantic. A crash in the left lane. You're on the brakes away from Slauson. The drive-in Studio City on the 101 before Coldwater Canyon, blocking the right lane, and delays here overall are backing up. Oh, out of Hollywood, let's take a closer look. You're on the brakes all the way from Melrose with Southern California's most accurate traffic reports. I'm Angel Martinez.
Is it time to sell your home? You want to downsize, want to move? You inherited a home you don't want anymore? Call Seller's Advantage. Seller's Advantage has bought homes for decades, and they'll buy your home as is for cash, and they'll close in days. And then you don't have to spend any money on repairs or prepare your home to be shown or have people come in and out. This great offer will give you peace of mind. You'll walk away happy. If it's time to sell your home, any reason at all, call Seller's Advantage. Free and no obligation offer. 888-321-AS-IS. 888-321-AS-IS. 888-321-2747. SellersAdvantage.com. Let's all sing, please.
Seller's Advantage will buy your home, make it easy so that you don't have to worry. Sell happy with Seller's Advantage.
DRE number 01961658. Providence Realty DRE number 01915212.
Worried about inflation, market volatility, or the weakening dollar? More Americans are turning to physical gold and silver to help diversify their retirement savings. Right now, receive up to $25,000 in free silver with a qualifying purchase. Call 888-447-7857 now to speak with a gold specialist. That's 888-447-7857. Again, call 888-447-7857. Not a financial advisor. Precious metals involve risk. Free silver offers a 10% bonus in silver on qualifying purchases of premium mint coins. $10,000 minimum purchase required. Bonus silver capped to $25,000 and credited to customer account. See goldencrestmetals.com for full terms.
Just call Sweet James at 1-800-9-million. Just call Sweet James, your accident attorney.
Sweet James Accident Attorneys. Office in Los Angeles, California, and sweetjames.com.
Let's talk about Galpin Honda. Dave Gillum is there. They are champions, chasing number one, not only in California, but in all of the U.S. And just like the boys in blue, they got the hardware to prove it. President's Award winners nearly year in and year out. One of the things they have at Galpin Honda that you can lean on: inventory. Whatever Accord, color, make, model, Civics, HRVs, CRVs, Pilots, Ridgelines, Odysseys. They've got them all, and they've got them ready for immediate delivery. Find your vehicle at galpinhonda.com. Set up your lease or financing terms. Dave Gillum will drive it right to you.
Curious how you would look? PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com. PlasticSurgeryUncensored.com.
Jungle backdrops and sunset dinners. With Norwegian Cruise Line, you don't have to choose. Book your Mexican Riviera cruise at ncl.com.
Visit LearCapital.com for your free gold investment kit. That's LearCapital.com.
Tap into happy hour with half-price pizzas and select apps every weekday at Yard House. Find yours at yardhouse.com.
KFI, AM 640.
An iHeart radio station. More stimulating talk.
KFI AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show. We're on 3 to 6 after 6 o'clock. John Kobylt Show on demand. You can call the Moist line, 877-MOIST-86, 877-MOIST-86, or the Talkback feature on the iHeart app. You can watch us on YouTube. You can watch us on X, all that. We just had Katy Grimes on, and among the things we were talking about was this Xavier Becerra situation. He's running for governor. He's allegedly got a big lead on Steve Hilton, which is just absurd because Becerra is, I'm sorry, he's been kind of a loser guy. He had 4% in the vote. They wouldn't even let him participate in one of the debates until Eric Swalwell, another psychopath, crashed and burned, and then it was a free-for-all at the end there. But Becerra had this disastrous tenure as Secretary of Health and Human Services. And I remember in the Biden administration, he was considered a failure. He rarely was allowed to speak at meetings, and Biden was angry and impatient with him because he was unprepared and brought so little to the table. They rarely had him act as a spokesperson for various issues, and it was widely considered an embarrassment. You know, he was a DEI hire, and many of the bad office holders we've had have been DEI hires in California, and that's what he was. And now he's going to become the DEI governor, having not accomplished anything of any note in his life. He's not campaigning very much in a meaningful way. He's making these bland appearances, but he figures he can just sit there for the next, 4 months and float to victory. And Hilton is out there turning over every rock, and he's detailed all the massive wasteful spending, all the corruption going on. He's got plans, solutions. He's willing to talk, to Democratic legislature about any number of things. It just baffles what goes on in this state. But going back to what Katie was discussing, Steve Hilton did a press conference and got into, there's some whistleblowers talking about the hundreds of thousands of illegal alien children that got lost. Xavier Becerra just lost track of what they did. And they end up in bad places. They end up getting turned over to factories, warehouses, doing unsafe, back-breaking work in the most foul, dangerous circumstances. Again, think meat packing and slaughterhouses, farm work, and sex work. They were sold into prostitution. Here's a whistleblower, and this happened right here in our backyard. The Pomona Fairplex became an illegal alien center when the surge happened in 2021. And a caseworker at the Pomona Fairplex says children there, right here in Pomona, faced abuse and chaotic releases. They were separated from their young siblings, sent to unverified addresses, or secretly moved in the dead of night, some never to be seen again. The complex accepted fake documents from sponsors who weren't really sponsors. These were the people trafficking the kids, selling them into slavery, either hard labor or sexual slavery. There was almost 500,000 unaccompanied minors crossing the border. This was the official government policy under Joe Biden and the whack jobs in his cabinet. Why would you let almost 500,000 unaccompanied young children to cross the border and have nowhere to go in most cases? Because out of the 480,000, 319,000 were lost. Multiple emergency sites were set up across the country to process the kids: Texas, Florida, California. And here we had one in San Diego, Long Beach, and Pomona at the Fairplex. Now, the whistleblower who brought these stories to Steve Hilton is a first-generation American and the mother of two whose family moved from El Salvador. And she was raised in California. She says Becerra toured the Fairplex conference in July of 2021 and called it a model for other sites, a place where kids could be healthy and safe. But she worked there for 6 months. And she said what was happening to the children was ignored because of pressure to reunify minors with sponsors, but there was no evidence that anybody knew who these sponsors were. They weren't relatives. They weren't friends. These were opportunists or members of a cartel. And but there were these criminal operations that were set up, and they would show up at the processing center and just claim kids like they were on sale. You had children being sold into slavery right under the noses of government supervisors there. Overseeing this all is Xavier Becerra. He toured the place and bragged about it. Here's an example. A caseworker, she told the story of a 5-year-old girl named Grace who arrived at the Fairplex with her 7-year-old sister. But Grace was upset because couldn't find her sister. I miss my sister and I don't know where she's at. Had not seen her in days. Well, when the caseworker tried to figure out where the sister was, she was told the girls had been separated because the older children, just in general, were abusing the younger children. So they were all separated. I felt heartbroken because nobody could tell her where their sister was. The 7-year-old left the facility at some point, and Grace left separately at a later date, and nobody knows what happened. She claimed a 14-year-old girl got pregnant there after being raped. She'd been forced into sex work by a strange woman who was described as her so-called aunt and sponsor. Probably no such thing. She said the vetting process for sponsors was ridiculous. Selfies were accepted as ID. Sponsors communicated through WhatsApp. Their addresses could not be verified. Again, multiply this by 320,000 children lost. They couldn't do welfare checks. They didn't know where those two sisters I told you about went, or most others. They were just trafficked. The whistleblower talked about sexual harassment, sexual abuse inside the Fairplex in Pomona. 16 and 17-year-old boys harassing the young female employees who were caring for the children. And if any employees reported what was going on, they were fired. If you were a whistleblower, you'd get kicked out. Children slept on cots in these pods of 20 to 35, at 25 to 35 children at a time, no privacy. They were awakened at 2 or 3 a.m., given small bags of belongings, and taken away. These are like concentration camps where you got to knock on the door, light is turned on, you're awakened, given a bag, and you're out, never to be seen again. And then where were they sold? On Figueroa Street? They're working on the farms? They're working in the slaughterhouses? She says we have no idea who's be transporting the children. Nobody would see the children leave the facility. And she blamed Becerra, his leadership. If he did basic welfare checks, of course, you shouldn't have first of all, you shouldn't let anybody over the border to begin with in those great numbers, because it was never going to be handled. We don't have a government system or the financing or the enough intelligent employees to handle something like this. So you just simply can't do this. And then when you do it, you've got to track and you've got to care what happens to him. He should take responsibility. Of course, they called Becerra and he didn't comment. Nobody at the campaign. He doesn't feel he has to. There's no consequence for this. They can literally do anything. They can oversee a sex trafficking ring that results in children being sold into sex slavery and getting raped. And this crowd, Becerra included, Newsom included, knows no consequences. Nobody will vote differently. It doesn't matter what they did. It's like a brain disease has infected 2/3 of the population in this state. Got more coming up. Debra Mark, live, KFI 24-hour newsroom.
Here is the latest. Dangerous heat is making a comeback across Southern California. We'll tell you when. The National Weather Service says a large southerly swell from Hurricane Genevieve is going to add to high surf pounding the coast here in Southern California. We'll have more at the top of the hour, heading over to the 101 next.
Lasting Smiles dental implants this summer. Transform your smile with the Summer Smile Special. This is for you if you have a mouthful of rotted teeth. Please, nobody wants to look at that. Damaged, rotted, decayed, you're missing. Ugh. If you go to Lasting Smiles, get dental implants, you get a free comprehensive dental exam, a custom treatment plan, full 3D imaging, payments as low as $149 a month on approved credit. Mention KFI, mention me, John, and you get the Summer Smile Special. LastingSmiles.com. Call 844-GO-SMILE, 844-GO-SMILE, 844-GO-SMILE.
Southland weather from KFI. Sunny tomorrow, high 70s to around 100. This report brought to you by Amazon Autos. From your Toyota Dealers Traffic Center, we make it easy, slow on the 101 in Hollywood.
It's the northbound side, and it slows from Melrose. Delays all the way to White Oak in Encino. The 134 westbound backing up out of Glendale, getting away from just about Pacific. You're on the brakes and stretches all the way to the 170, 101. Also, that's out the eastbound side of the 134. That slows down getting out of Burbank from just about Buena Vista. You're on the brakes ahead all the way back into Glendale, looking better beyond Glendale Avenue. With Southern California's most accurate traffic reports, I'm Angel Martinez.
Infinity Bank. When it comes to banking, are all of your eggs in one basket? Well, what happens when your card doesn't work and you have to look at the back of the card to find the 800 number? And what happens if your wallet is stolen? Who's going to be that reliable source when you need money or new cards or assurance that your money is safe? Well, rest assured, you won't have to worry about that with Infinity Bank. Call Victor Guerrero. He's the president. Good guy. And call him to set up a new account today. 657-223-1000. Do this. I did. 657-223-1000. And for a limited time, don't miss out on one of the best rates in the U.S. with their money market savings account. Infinity Bank.
Experience a night that honors the heart of Guatemalan culture with the Dodgers on Thursday, July 30th as they take on the Mariners. With the purchase of a special ticket pack, you'll receive an exclusive Guatemalan Heritage Night jersey. For tickets, visit Dodgers.com/promotions.
It's your turn to cook, but you've also got car shopping to do. Sounds like a lot. Not with Amazon Autos. What you see is what you pay. Shop online, pick it up at the dealership, so you can stay in chef mode. Amazon Autos.
Visit Amazon.com/autos.
This report is sponsored by RockAuto.com.
Oof, shocking time to lose a whole strut.
Ugh, comedy is not your thing, but I do know that Rock Auto has what I need to fix it.
With parts shipped right to your door. No kidding.
All the parts your car will ever need, Rock Auto.
GiveMeTheVin.com is paying top dollar for your car, truck, sports car, exotic. I told my buyers, let's get them bought. Right now is the time to go.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVin.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
It's your home equity. Shouldn't you be able to access it?
Well, the bank said otherwise.
When HELOC said no, Splatero said go. There's only a 500 minimum credit score and no income requirement. And you keep your existing mortgage rate. Visit Splatero.com today.
I was standing in line at the grocery store when a little boy looked at me and said, "Mommy, why does that lady have crayon marks on her legs?" He was talking about my varicose veins and I was mortified. With summer coming, I knew I couldn't keep hiding them, so I called West Medical. They were kind, understanding, and their treatments are quick, effective, and have little to no downtime. Best of all, most PPO insurance plans are accepted. Call 1-800-WEST-MED for your free, no-obligation consultation or visit westmedical.com.
Feeling credible. Because I call 1-800-WEST-MEDICAL.
You've been injured. The person who did it is really, really sorry.
Their insurance company contacts you immediately and tells you that they're going to take care of everything.
They tell you that you don't need an attorney.
They say an attorney would only slow things down.
This is the oldest trick in the book.
The insurance company knows how to calculate the value of your case.
They know how much they owe you.
But there is no law that prohibits them from trying to convince you to settle for less.
And there's no law that says they have to tell you the truth.
Habas Law knows the truth.
And in the hands of a determined attorney, the truth is a powerful tool.
When you've been injured, the law says that you deserve to be compensated.
But whose job is it to make sure that the law is followed?
It's not the job of the police department.
It's my job. I'm Omar Habas.
And it's my job. I'm Nicholas Habas.
Call Habas Law at 1-800-INJURED.
Your day is about to get a whole lot better.
HABBASLaw.com.
Omar Habas and Nicholas Habas are California licensed attorneys with an office in Los Angeles. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes.
If you run a business, you know how hard it is to get your customers' attention. Yet 85% of consumers say radio is the last thing they hear before shopping. Let iHeartRadio help you reach your next customer today at iHeartAdvertising.com.
You'll learn more before breakfast than most people learn all day. Wake Up Call with Amy King. Live 5 to 6 a.m. on KFI. And on demand anytime on the iHeartRadio app.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
KFI, AM 640. More stimulating talk.
Mark Thompson here with big news. One of my favorite fill-in hosts is on the Conway Show tonight, Andy Reesmeyer. Check him out. Going to be a great show.
KFI, AM 640, more stimulating talk radio. John Kobylt Show, and the podcast is coming out in just a few minutes right after 6 o'clock. And I'd listened to that first hour especially. Debra Mark starred as we did a little dramatic recreation of Ruby Rippey's mini memoir she wrote in Vanity Fair, detailing her affair with Governor Newsom. At the time, he was Mayor Newsom. This was 20 years ago. It was a big scandalous story in San Francisco, and she's never spoken out about this, and she did. And pretty. You could just feel the heat. It really did read like one of those Harlequin romance novels. And Debra played the role of Ruby Rippey because there was a lot of descriptions in there that I didn't want to I didn't want to say out loud, but it worked. Debra put on a sultry persona. Anyway, you have to enjoy her performance, and that's in the first hour of the podcast, John Kobylt Show on Demand, which is going to be released in a few minutes. And we also are working on YouTube and X still, and all that will turn into a recording in just a few minutes as well, so you can enjoy that tonight or tomorrow morning or whenever. All right. It looks like the Trump administration is cutting a lot of funding to California in many ways, and also across the country. And they're cutting food stamps. It's known as CalFresh here. And because they're forcing people to work. Like you have to put in 20 hours of work at either a real job or a nonprofit, something. It turns out we have millions of people on the dole who are of working age, let's say between 18 and 64, and they're simply not working. And there's no reason for this. They're not sick. They're not disabled. They're not working, but they're getting food stamps and other welfare benefits. And the administration has said enough. This is similar to what Bill Clinton did back in the 1990s. I don't know why this has to swing round and round, but a lot of people here in L.A. Have lost or got reduced EBT benefits, and it's food stamps. And it's called CalFresh here. And so the LA Times did this massive sob story, and it's about immigrants and refugees. Look, I don't know. I don't understand when we lost our way on this stuff. When you're born into the world, eventually you have to go to work to earn money to eat. I don't know of another way to do this. And the government aid we give should be for people who are truly mentally or physically disabled in some way, or people who suffered some kind of horrific piece of bad luck. You know it when you see it, and you help them out. But people by the millions who have able to walk, able to work, don't have any debilitating problems, and they're getting paychecks or food stamps or EBT cards. Well, for goodness sakes, yes, that's got to end. And put aside the fraud for a minute. These are people who aren't committing fraud. They just happen to be legally eligible. And so what they've done is, in order to reduce the spending, you have to go to work. Well, but I mean, that was automatic when I was growing up. And if everybody was, if everybody was consistently told every day of their life when you're young, it's like after you finish going to school, you got to get a job, and that's how you stay alive. There is no other way. As of June 1st, if you're on food stamps, and you work less than 30 hours a week, and you're not on unemployment, and you're between the ages of 18 and 64, you have to get a part-time job. At least. If you have no dependents, they give you excuses. If you have kids under 14, if you're on unemployment, but otherwise, you go to work and there's no more free food. Why is that so complicated? Why is this a tragedy? Unemployment rate in this country is about 4%. Has been for a long time. A lot of people who are unemployed and they're not disabled, they're unemployed by choice. They just don't want to work because they're getting free stuff in the mail. So they put an end to it. And of course, the LA Times puts out a long piece on just how terrible this is. No, it's not terrible. What's terrible is people have gotten away living on free stuff without doing their share of work. Everybody talks about paying your fair share in taxes. Well, how about your fair share of work? I think that should become a common phrase. I mean, it's just astonishing to me that this is actually an issue. This is something that's debatable. We are done for now. And we've got the podcast being released in a few minutes. You could see the video on YouTube or X recorded. You can follow us at John Kobylt Radio. And we have Andy Riesmeyer in for Conway next. Michael Crozier live in the KFI 24-hour newsroom.